disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me, as always, my co-host, King Bucho, who should be back in a couple of seconds. Shout out to everybody out there in the boxing world. I'm cutting this intro short. I've heard this song a million times, heard a million times when it was being done. So, maybe change up the theme or something, man. Maybe. You never know. But shout out to everybody in the chat room, guys. We got a fantastic show for you today. Discussion was the discussion that everybody loves. Pound for pound lists. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So before we continue, shout out to Mike P, who donated before the show even started. Shout out to Mike P. He says starting early. No, I'm not looking for anything or recognition. Just like the show and good things happening right now. Absolutely, Mike. Fantastic things happening right now. And thank you for your contribution. Apology Man is in there as well. Johnny Boy, Mike P, Mr. E, Blues Boxing, Other. Who else we got in there? Timmy Nealon. Many more to come, I am sure. Thank you guys for joining us. Hein Britt, Stephen Schneider. Thank you guys for joining us again. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to BDA Live or secondary channel. And subscribe to Second Renaissance, the channel where anything goes. Okay, so don't forget to go ahead and do that. Don't be afraid. We're going to have pound for pound discussions then. Because the subject is right now, I've been hearing a lot of people saying that Jermall Charlo belongs in the pound for pound rankings above such luminaries as Naoya Inoue, Usyk, Lomachenko, and even Terence Crawford as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, I know, disclaimer, listen guys, pound for pounds lists are subjective. So let's not lose our crap about this. Let's not lose our cool. I want everybody to be cool, all right?
Very happy about where we're at. We got a real nice, I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me attitude going on.
That's right. That's the way we want to keep it, man. And I'll take a couple of articles here from Boxing Scene and some comments too to get us started. All right, fantastic. We're also going to be opening up the phone lines, people. They should be ready in a couple of seconds. So the phone number. Hey, where is the phone number? Hold on a second. Huh?
The phones are open. Oh, you mean in the, on OBS? I don't know.
All right, Bucho set up the phone lines. By the way, we got Gonzalo on the air as well. Gonzalo, you there?
How's it going, Mr. BDA? Bucho?
Good. You know what, Bucho? I just realized why your volume is low. Because I had it lower on the mixer here. So go ahead and decrease it. Otherwise, you're going to sound like the voice of God. All right? I know you think you're a god, Bucho, but you're not.
I have the god complex.
See, there you go. Now you sound fucking way too high. Let me adjust the volume here on Discord.
Right, hold on. All
right.
Better?
So yeah, phone lines are open. Let me just put the where is the number here? Hold on a second. Anyway, Gonzalo, just to recap, man, we'll start with Jermall. Big Jermall, 160-pound Jermall. he believes that he's the number one middleweight in the world. Now, he beat Derevchenko. That's a great start. But now we want to see if he can beat somebody else. And there's three names. Already, certain sides of the boxing sphere are talking about how Canelo's afraid of him. Now, how Canelo, who's gone up to 175 to fight Kovalev, he's the guy that stepped in there with Golovkin 24 rounds. He's the guy that went in there against Mayweather, Lara, all these guys. How he would be afraid of Charlo, I don't know. But Gonzalo, what do you make of all that?
As far as being afraid, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I think it would be a good fight. And Jermall Charlo, he actually has a shot of winning. No human being's invincible. And Canelo's been in tough, close fights before. So this would be a good fight. And as far as him being the best middleweight in the world, I would find it hard to believe that he's not, considering that Triple G is on the downslide. He is an older man. He's going to be 38. So this guy's in his prime. And you have to take the eye test into account as well. That's a very important thing. So I do believe, that he is the best right now. And as far as him, that we have to see him fight somebody else and beat another top contender, oh, definitely, of course.
Yeah. Bucho, what do you think? Yeah.
Yeah. No, just a question. When Golovkin or Jacobs fought Derevchenko, were those career-defining fights for these two boxers, for Jacobs or Golovkin? You know what I mean? Like, what was the story, the narrative before those fights took place with Derevchenko? You know, what I mean? It seems like with Charlo, most people were saying that this is his biggest challenge. When Golovkin fought Derevchenko, it was just a fight that was interesting to a lot of us, but it wasn't, a 50-50 fight. Or a career-defining fight for Golovkin. Same thing with Jacobs. When Jacobs fought Derevchenko, I mean, it was an okay fight. It was an interesting fight. Derevchenko's a contender, but that was it.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Because I'm in my car.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, if my car's making too much noise, then just let me know and I'll mute myself. But I don't want to keep unmuting and muting when I'm driving.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
there's no background noise.
That's cool. So look. We called for Charlo to fight someone competitive, and we got it. So stop these people moaning about Charlo this to Golovkin. Why does everything have to be about Golovkin? At the end of the day, Golovkin was a reigning unified champion at the time, right? And classed as an all-time great. So of course people weren't excited when Derevchenko's fighting him. But it's a bit of a different story with Charlo. He's not really, he's never had that sort of stature about himself. He's fought some good guys, but nothing special. So we wanted to see him step up to a good competitive guy, and he has done, and he got the job done in good fashion. I mean, I don't know what you guys want from him.
Say that Charlo had a better performance against Derevchenko. I don't know what they only talk about Golovkin. What about Jacobs? How come they're not comparing Jacobs' performance?
Everything. Look, it doesn't matter because the triangle theory is rubbish anyway. Because certain styles adapt to other styles better than other styles. If you get what I'm saying, without rambling on. At the end of the day, Golovkin's stand in front of your style suited Derevchenko a bit more than Charlo's style did. So look, it doesn't mean Charlo's going to go in there and walk through Golovkin. If you think that, then I don't know what you've been watching recently, but look, it's going to be a competitive fight. Charlo's definitely in that fight. A lot of people are now picking him to beat Golovkin. I'm not sure on that one. I'm still favouring Golovkin, but we'll see how he goes in this fight with this fucking buck that he's about to fight.
Right. Again, I just want to ask everybody in the chat and on the panel, how come most people are comparing Charlo's performance against Derevchenko with the performance that Golovkin had with Derevchenko, and they're not comparing Charlo's performances with performance with Daniel Jacobs? Why single out Golovkin? Why single out Golovkin?
Listen, Bucho.
No,
the Charlo Derevchenko fight. Hey, what's up? Apology. Go ahead.
What's up, man? No, that's all I need to say.
Well, I didn't hear what you said. Apology.
Golovkin's hold to a different standard because he's just that good.
Yeah, well, that's gotta be maybe, man. Maybe. I mean, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into the whole perception thing. But Gonzalo, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, look, listen. The Charlo Debriachenko fight was a good fight. There was no crowd. To me,
Yeah,
it still was a very entertaining. It was a
was.
great fight. But let me just finish what I'm saying. It was still a close fight. I mean, Golovkin dropped Debriachenko, and that fight could have gone either way. But when I was counting the rounds leading up to the championship rounds
Mhm.
between Debriachenko and Charlo, fucking Debriachenko was mounting a comeback. He was, but just in the end, I just had that feeling that he didn't put significant damage on Charlo for him to get the fight. But it still was a close fight and an exciting fight, although Charlo edged it out. But it was a close fight too. Don't get it wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a. Look,
Yeah,
Butch is bringing up a great point here as well when he says, "Why weren't people losing their shit when Jacobs beat Derevchenko?" I mean, Golovkin also beat Derevchenko. Let's not forget it. You can say that it was close. Yeah, Golovkin looked worse against Chenko than Charlo did. But then again, if the tables were reversed and Golovkin had gotten to Derevchenko after Charlo, you bet your ass certain people would be saying that Derevchenko was damaged goods from Charlo. So it can go both ways. But we're gonna try to keep things into
Has
perspective.
Charlo
here.
beaten Jacobs?
Well,
Has
you know
he
what?
beaten a Jacobs type of fighter?
Here's the thing. I still think Jacobs is the one who's looked the best against Derevchenko. Because okay, he didn't bust him up the way Charlo did, but he wasn't getting teed off on the way Chenko was on Charlo. Golovkin though, but here's the thing: it's we can't use the triangle theory here and say, well, because Charlo looked better against Derevchenko than Triple G did, therefore Charlo's going to beat Triple G because styles make fights. The reason why Jacobs,
Exactly.
and I said this before the fight, the reason why Jacobs looked better against Chenko than Triple G did was because Triple G wasn't countering at all. He wasn't countering against Derevchenko. He's not a counter puncher. He's a guy.
And
He's not a
size
counter
advantage.
puncher. He's not a
Exactly.
counter puncher. That's one thing about Golovkin. Just doesn't counter punch and doesn't fight on the back foot very well.
Mhm.
That's why he's there to be beat right now. You know, look, I just don't get why people think I hate this guy. Oh, he's a hater. Like Stuart Little hates Golovkin. No, I don't. I love the guy. It's just I've got to tell you how it is. I've got eyes. They work. What I'm seeing now is not good enough for me. You know, don't get me wrong. I've got high standards for Golovkin. That's why I speak about him like I do. Because if I thought he was a bum, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if he was fucking useless. But right
Exactly.
now, one of my favourite fighters, and it's just sad to see the way he's deteriorating. That's my point.
You know what, man? We all, well, most of us here got some flack recently for being anti-Triple G somehow. Then you got other people accusing us of being pro-Triple G. So that just goes to show you that we actually try to keep it consistent here and try to keep it level-headed. One thing I will say, though.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, these people that are picking Charlo against Triple G just off the whim, let me tell you, I'm calling it right now. Triple G gives him a different and perhaps harder type of fight than Derevchenko did. Because yes, and I said this over at D Jefferson's stream a couple of days ago. Okay, Triple G is not as quick as Derevchenko. He's not as fresh as Derevchenko. He's not as he doesn't have the same volume of punches that Derevchenko has. He's got a better jab. He's going to be putting pressure. I think his chin is just as good as Derevchenko's, if not better. And guess what? He's had power. Something that Charlo has yet to face. Nobody has ever fought the type of power that Triple G brings. You know, if you haven't fought him before.
Yeah, no, that's true, B-Day. I mean, and he also brings pressure. Golovkin pressure is a different pressure to Derevchenko. Golovkin, I mean, it's mentally draining fighting Golovkin because he's constantly cutting off the angles, coming forward, looking to throw shots, and he gets you flustered in there. That's why he breaks down a lot of people. Their heart goes, like Cal Brook. His heart went. He was hitting with Golovkin with everything he had. Nothing was happening, and he was getting hit with big bombs himself in return. And that's what Golovkin does. He can lose your heart with Golovkin. Certain styles make fights, and I think Charlo is better suited to Golovkin than Derevchenko.
Well, let me ask. I want to go around here. And by the way, guys, phone lines are open. Numbers right there in the middle part of your screen, in the left-hand portion, in the middle. Call in. The numbers right there. I want to ask Gonzalo this. Gonzalo, if they held the fight now, Triple G Charlo, who would you pick?
I'm not sure. I might lead to Charlo because they're similar dimensions. Maybe Charlo's just a little longer, and it would be a battle of the jabs. I'm not saying that his jab is entirely better than Triple G's because Triple G's has a ramrod jab, and this guy has like a jab that's at one speed. And there's variations of it, but and I would favor Triple G's jab. But in the end, I think that the youth would prevail. It would be the old lion against the new lion. And I would favor the new lion, but I'm not totally 100% about that. And in the end, it's just my prediction.
Look, one thing's for sure that night, Golovkin is going to get hit in the face a lot. He's just not. He's too slow to get out of the way of Charlo's explosive, accurate, precise punching, which Charlo has got. I was really impressed with his punching technique on Saturday. I just thought they were nice, world-class, crisp shots. And Golovkin's, they're going to be tagging him up all night. The problem is how's Charlo going to react when Golovkin's tagging him up? That's why I'm 50-50 with it at the moment.
I
know Charlo's a tough kid. Getting hit by Golovkin's a different kettle of fish than Derevchenko. That's the problem.
Exactly. Now, apology. You asked in the chat whether did I just hear you guys say Triple G doesn't counterpunch? I should clarify that. Apology. I should clarify. I'm not saying he can't counterpunch at all, but what I'm saying is he's not as big on the counterpunching with the power shots as Charlo is. Golovkin is a guy that walks people down, loads up on his shots, and if you got good defense, you can make him swing and miss. And that sort of play that in Derevchenko's hands. Against Charlo, though, it's going to be a long-distance fight. And that's the thing. Let me ask you guys this also as well. Charlo, he displayed a shotgun jab, fantastic jab against Derevchenko. The question is, like Gonzalo was saying, if they get into a fight, a jabbing contest, who's going to prevail? Because I got to tell you, when he fought Brandon Adams, he was pumping that jab. It was good, but it's not like he was winning the fight solely on the jab. I've never really seen Charlo dominate a guy with a jab. So what would happen between those two if they got into a jabbing contest?
Look at the Korobov fight.
Yeah.
What happened in that? He wasn't outboxing Korobov. As a matter of fact, he was getting outboxed.
To be fair,
they probably lost that fight. If anything, he lost. Yeah.
To be fair, Korobov is a southpaw, and Golovkin's an orthodox fighter.
That's a good point.
So I'll give Charlo a break. Only this once.
Yeah, Korobov has quicker feet than Golovkin as well. I think Golovkin's quite plods along these days, doesn't he? Plods along, but look, styles make fights. I keep preaching it. Golovkin, if you think just by watching Charlo's impressive performance, that's enough to go in there and go through Golovkin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're horribly wrong. I mean, this is a 50-50 fight. If anything, just tip into Golovkin through experience. I mean, like I said, Charlo's looking very impressive at the moment, but that's the first time I've saw him. I've been very impressed with him. He's took 30 fights. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And look, listen, the phone lines are open, so anybody that believes Charlo comprehensively beats Triple G or Canelo, call in. I want to hear from you guys. I want to have my mind changed because right now I don't see it. Maybe you guys can tell me something or show me something that I haven't seen.
I don't see it either.
No, man.
I don't see it even being a close fight at all.
Oh, well, I don't know about
Consider what Dev did in later rounds on the inside. If Golovkin can get past Charlo's jab, which I think he can, I don't see it can be competitive at all.
Golovkin will get his chin. That's for sure.
Right.
He has way more power than Derevchenko. And by the way, let's be honest here. The size difference is something that we haven't. Not everybody's even talking about this. Charlo looked much bigger than Derevchenko. As a matter of fact, it's true.
Charlo's a super middleweight, man. He's a weight bully.
Physically, he was much better in every aspect than Derevchenko.
Yeah, right? He was massive in there.
Yeah, Charlo's a big dude. I agree with Bucho. I think he could fight at 168 easily. You know, this is a guy
How tall is he?
He's about 6 feet.
5'11".
Oh, nice.
No, we're talking about.
He be 6 feet.
I'm hearing he was 181 pounds in there against Derevchenko.
He could be because he was.
That makes sense.
You know what I look at?
Because of his height.
I look at his biceps. His biceps. I mean, TV has a funny way of making you look bigger. Sometimes I get that, but I was looking at this man and I was like, you know, this is a big dude. This looks like a guy who walks around 6 feet, 200 pounds. Like he has that kind of frame.
He's a big lad.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
You know what? Recognize in a weird way, him and Golovkin have the same type of body frame, like swimmer build, white lats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, Triple G. I get what you're saying.
Bigger though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Apology.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
This is what I was going to say about the fight itself. To me, look, I get it. There's some doubts with Triple G. That's a natural reaction. It's a natural reaction to have some doubts, especially now that he's almost 40. Remember, he's 38. He'll be 39 in April. So in 6 months, he's 6 months away from being 39 years old. So this guy's hitting 40. And you can see that there's certain things. I think people over-exaggerate a little bit. This is my opinion. When they talk about the decline of Triple G, I still see Triple G doing things that can win him a fight. Now, if he can back Charlo up with the jab, he wins. I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt that he can win that fight. That's going to be the question. If it doesn't necessarily have to be a jabbing battle. It just has to be if Triple G starts hitting him with the jab and it starts backing him up. I can't see where Golovkin could go wrong with that. And I think he would try that. I think think of Danny Jacobs. And now I know that fight was almost 3 years ago. Think of the Danny Jacobs fight, a guy who's more elusive with the feet than Charlo. Triple G beat him because he kept backing him up with the jab. That's why he won that fight. That was the key, was to back Jacobs up and make Jacobs kind of like reset, and therefore he couldn't get off the punches that he needed to win the fight.
Well said, man.
Look, when it comes to Charlo, Canelo, look, Canelo, you guys know how I feel about Canelo, but you got to understand. You got to understand that. Look, there are levels to this games, and sometimes it has to do with it could be politics. I could see him giving Canelo a good fight. The reason Canelo may not be interested in that fight is because, Canelo's in it to make big money. And yes, I know that he might fight. He was thinking about fighting his sparring partner and all that shit. And some of that may be true. But he's looking at the bigger fight. I can't blame Canelo if he's like, look, fuck this dude. I don't want to deal with these dudes.
Hey, but by the way, before we continue, guys, before we continue, shout out to Mark, who donated with the super chat. A nice, juicy donation. Thank you, Mark, who says, hit the like. And speaking of Mark, we got Mark right here. Mark, you there?
Yeah, I'm good. That's 20 euro, by the way. In Canadian, that's $1 million.
Mark, I take it. Hey, Mark, I take it you hit that post office you was talking about.
And by the way, before we continue, fellas, I see we got two people waiting on the phone line, so let's get right through them, and then we'll get back here to the panel. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds. Let's go to 337. You're on the air. 337.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, caller.
It's Dead Game Boxing. What's happening, fam?
Oh, Dead Game. Shout out, man. How you doing?
Dead Game in the house.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. Shit. Talking about Charlo, man. Look, what y'all saying to me is all facts, bro. Triple G is a monster. I think you stepping up to a whole nother. After he beat Devenchenko, now he's stepping up to a whole nother level of competition. Triple G, I think he gets Triple G. Right now, I don't think he can beat Canelo. But Charlo is on an upward trend, and he's getting better with each fight. So I think that Canelo fight in 2 more years, I think that would be the fight to make. Right now,
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I agree.
The jab, to me, Triple G's best jab was when he fought David Lemieux. I mean, it was like a cannon. But I don't.
Well, yeah. Well, jabs look good when you got a fucking stationary target, don't they?
Yeah, but yeah.
Come on, man. That's a stationary target. He's fucking jabbing there.
But his jab won him the fight.
But my jab would win me the fight. My jab looked good against David Lemieux. The fucking guy don't move his head.
Well, let's let that game. Sorry, apology. Let's let that game. Let that game finish. Let that game finish his point, please. That game. Go ahead.
Sorry, that game. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Oh, recognize. Peace, brother. I'm glad to hear your voice, man, back on the panel.
Peace, bro. Peace, man. Good to hear you.
Yeah, man. That Devenchenko, bro. I mean, people say that. See, Derenchenko is an older fighter, but he is not an old fighter. Derenchenko in the 12th round, man, he was coming on like a monster, bro. It was a little too late, but that 12th round, you could see it, man. He was trying to do something. So I have a lot of respect for Derenchenko. Danny Jacobs, that would also be a good fight, but I think Danny Jacobs is at 168, so that's not going to happen. Charlo is not going to move up. I don't think anytime soon. I think he has a lot more to accomplish at 160, and you know, the guys that's asking these guys to move up, I really don't like that. But as far as Charlo right now being the number one guy at 160, I would say yes, because Canelo is not at. He is at 160, but he's not at 160. I have Canelo as my top guy, but man, Charlo.
That game, you're saying saying Charlo could become. He's not number one right now, but you said you're saying he could become.
At 160, I think he is number one.
Oh.
If Canelo is not at 160.
Now,
look,
you
know what?
Go ahead, recognize.
No, I was going to say to Dead Gang's point. Look, and maybe some people might not agree with me on this, but yeah, I don't have him number one, but I think there's an argument to be made who would win between him, Canelo, and Triple G. I wouldn't just say right off the bat Canelo's number one on that, or Triple G's number 1 or 2, and Charlo's like number 3. I'm not look in that order. I would have it like that. But in terms of fighting today, there's a good argument to be made that Charlo could probably beat those two. Okay? Because, dude, just look at his size. I mean, and he's a decent boxer. He's a decent boxer, too. And that's all you need. That's all you need at this point. When you're that big and you're a decent boxer, you can make shit happen, and you can win those fights. It's not like out of the realm.
It's like saying, recognize, how would Triple G fare at super middleweight? I mean, he's gonna face a young, strong guy with Charlo, and dude, the guy's got a hell of an uppercut. If he fought Canelo, that'd be a battle of the uppercuts. And I think that Charlo's got a better jab. And what else? There's comparable in age, and that's basically it. You know, as far as speed, they're kind of equal. You know, and as far as power, they're kind of equal as well. I would maybe favor Charlo as well, slightly at middleweight.
Against
Canelo? Never. Not right
the power department, the power category. Upstairs to the body, no, but upstairs, yes.
Upstairs, yeah, he's got
What about
he's got wider shoulders, he's got big lats, and he's taller than Canelo. He can get more leverage on his shots. To the body, no. Canelo hits harder to the body.
Yeah.
Listen to my words. I'm not blowing it out of proportion.
No, we don't want to listen to your words.
I agree with Gonzalo.
But you see, with Canelo, height doesn't matter with Canelo, man. Canelo is just a talent, bro. That's a different type of level, right? There's levels to this, but right now Charlo is not there yet. I don't see him beating a Canelo right now at all. It's just levels. I mean, like you say, the power is similar, but the skill is different. And I think right now Canelo is probably one of the most skilled boxers, if not the most skilled boxers that's boxing today. If you add,
I agree that game. Everything that I mentioned that you're mentioning now, Canelo's better at.
All right, wait. As you can see, we got differing opinions here on the panel. Now, hold on. Before we... Dead Game, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, okay. We got another call here. We're going to have to move on. But thank you for calling in, and call back next time.
Have a good one.
Take it easy, man.
Thanks for calling.
All right. Now, let's go to 917. 917, you're on the air. 917.
New York.
New York.
Yo, what's happening, yo? Shout out BDA, panel members, Lucho, Stu Little, Revolucion. Good to have you back. Recognize, good to have you back. That's what I meant. Yo, man, what's good? This is David calling. First and foremost, I also want to shout out all my haters in the group chat. Shout out my biggest haters, Fox.
Shout out to his biggest haters.
Pictures. The three, my biggest haters in the UK, my biggest UK fanboys with the British Heat. Yo, what's good? Yeah, man. I just want to talk about this whole Charlo thing. I think Triple G, at age 40, Charlo beats him. And I think, back in the day, if it was even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Golovkin would have beat him. But instead, people, they didn't want to give Charlo the chance. Who is he beat? He doesn't deserve Golovkin. And now he gets a sick victory. Now you guys want to see. Now this is suddenly a topic to talk about. And secondly, I think Canelo is still light years ahead of Charlo. It was a good fight. A good fight this weekend, but I still think Canelo is on a whole different level. So that's what I gotta say.
Okay, but now, for the Charlo Canelo, then you would pick Charlo. But when it comes to Charlo Triple G, with how much certainty would you pick Charlo?
I think he's not gonna win by much, slightly. I think it would have been a close fight. He's not gonna blow him out or anything. But I think Triple G, he doesn't have the durability. He's not as sturdy as he used to be anymore. Because if you saw how Derevyanchenko was, he was teeing up on Charlo and he ate those shots. But if you saw Golovkin as he's gotten older, it looks like his punch resistance isn't quite what it used to be, and it's poker face.
But wait, based on what do you think Triple G's punch resistance is diminished?
The way how Derevyanchenko was bagging him up, and he didn't look like the way he was getting hit by Derevyanchenko, it looked like he was bothered by it more than Charlo was bothered by Derevyanchenko.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, there
That's
you go.
a fair
So,
point. I think that's backing him up as well in later rounds.
Yeah, he did. He had moments where he backed
Charlo.
him up. I agree with that apology. He did have moments where he backed him up in the later fight. Now, again, man, like the Derevyanchenko. Look, to me, Derevyanchenko took a beating against Triple G. Yeah, if you have him winning, fine. I'm not gonna argue with you, but even in a win, you could lose. Like you could take such a beating. So, I think people make too much of the win, doing the comparison of Charlo beating Derevyanchenko versus Triple G or even a Danny Jacobs, and I think that's a serious mistake. Now, the only part that I would give, yeah, I see where you're coming from, where you might think Charlo can beat Triple G is the age thing, and there is. Again, there's a lot of things that Triple G doesn't do anymore. It's just little things that, for me, that he doesn't do anymore, and maybe that has to do with the age, or maybe that just happens to do with the better competition. These guys are good. Danny Jacobs is a very good fighter. Okay, and of course he didn't blow him out. Everybody was expecting him, including me. I thought he was going to knock him out, but when I look at that fight after it happened, right? It makes sense to me. To me, Triple G clearly won that fight. I thought he clearly won that fight against Jacobs. But Jacob is a very good fighter, and Derevyanchenko was not the same, in my opinion, going into the Jermall Charlo fight than he was going in with Triple G or even Danny Jacobs.
Who do you
I want to
guys
make a
think
point
will
after
win
this.
between
Go ahead,
Danny
David.
Jacobs and Charlo? Oh, I apologize. Who do you guys think will win between Charlo and Daniel Jacobs? I actually think Jacob will beat him.
Jacobs.
I'll take Jacobs, to be honest. I wouldn't be
think
surprised if
Jacobs would
Jacob. Yeah.
But
I
he's
think
not
Jacobs
fighting
would
at
be
middleweight
competitive.
any longer.
Yeah. Some people
Yeah,
are saying
that's the
don't mention Jacobs because Jacobs is at 168 now. So that's
Yeah, but a guy who's a career middleweight, like we can't.
Yeah,
mention him.
exactly. I'm
you
pretty
know
sure he
what?
would come down if the money is good enough. He would come down. I just want to say something though. When Golovkin and Charlo, when he beat Derevyanchenko, we couldn't bring up the argument that, or actually the fact that that Derevyanchenko had already been in wars in the past and all that. We couldn't bring that up. Now, if Charlo beats Golovkin, can we bring up the fact that Golovkin is actually 38? Because I'm pretty sure that if Charlo
you can't do it. You can't do it.
if Charlo beats Golovkin, trust me, his fans are gonna dismiss the fact that he's 38. And if you actually mention that fact, they're gonna go after you and they're gonna call you a hater and they're gonna call you all sorts of fucking names. That's a fact.
Which is it? Is Golovkin past his prime with less punch resistance, or is he good now? Which is it?
Yeah, that's a good point by
It's a good
Apology.
question.
Which one is it? Is he still in his prime or is he losing something? Which one is it? You know?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean the Charlo fan base over the weekend, they were, talking all kind of crazy because that's like, the definition of LBBC. It literally started around the Charlo, Lions Den boxing. That's them. So, they had a field day this weekend, and I was in their chat and I saw what they were saying. But I mean, I think they kind of felt the need to celebrate because after Wilder lost, they were kind of just very discouraged. And I feel like they saw the Charlo win as like a way to kind of get back into, being like they kind of got one back somehow, even though it's unrelated. But yeah.
Well, at least the Charlos have boxing skills. I'll give them that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least they're stepping it up when it comes to like
But look-
the caliber of fighting.
But look, I've said it before. The Charlos outside of the ring, they're divas, but inside the ring, they're good boxers. We just wanted to see them step up to the plate against a top 5 contender. Jermall had been doing that prior, but the other Charlo, Jermall, hadn't been doing it against middleweight. So finally, we got to commend him to taking on a big test, passing it, looking good as he did it. But now his fans are going a little bit overboard and saying that he definitely beats Triple G. He puts a beating on him, and Canelo's scared of him. I mean, come on, Triple G and Canelo, I doubt they're shaking in their boots after what Jermall did. Look, he looked good, but he didn't look like, a supernatural being, a force of nature that's gonna sweep over them.
He didn't blow Derevchenko out of the ring, right?
No.
So
And even
it's like-
recognize, even when Jermall's own trainer, Ronnie Shields, has to give him a pep talk, telling him, listen, you're the younger fighter. You're going to get in there. You got the big... That means they says that the older fighter was pushing him around once he got going. So they knew it was a tough
I
fight.
mean, listen, Charlo has shown at middleweight that he could be beaten. He's ready to me. I mean, he may have won his fights, but at least to me, I see where he could be beaten at. And I think that if Triple G could still do what he's been doing, which is making the jab effective. I mean, the problem with that is that I think he doesn't mix his punches off the jab like he used to. But you can see that the jab is still effective enough to back up a guy like Charlo. If he could do that, you might be in for a surprise. I won't, but some people might be.
I don't even think 160 is a popping division anymore because there isn't really that many top tier contenders. So I actually want to see him go up to 168, because who's there left at 160 anymore? It's no longer a stacked weight class. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're moving up. Well, Triple G's still there, but
I can't think of one person.
yeah, some of the bigger names
Yeah.
at 160 moved up already. You still got Triple G there. But that's about it. Like Canelo has moved up in weight. I mean, he still holds. I think he still holds the strap at 160, right? They still let him. They still let him hold the
The
belt.
Everest, or what is it? What is it? The new belt. One thing I was gonna mention. One thing that we might kind of question is Derevchenko's power. He's got 13 wins with 10 KOs. But even when he fought Turiano Johnson back in the day, he got a late stoppage. Now against these upper echelon guys, in the later rounds, yeah, he's boxing well and he's winning rounds, and sometimes he's even putting the beating, but without any mustard on those punches. So if he faces a guy, this Charlo guy, he faces a guy with more power, is he necessarily going to edge the fight out like he did against Derevchenko, who boxes well but doesn't have a lot of pop? So I'm not sure if he does or doesn't, but we might put that into question now. Does Derevchenko hit that hard?
Look, for me, if I'm Charlo's trainer, I'm telling him to work Golovkin's body. I mean, the left hook to the body is the key. I mean, you're not going to knock this guy out by punching him in the face. He's just got a granite chin. But I saw him crumble a few times, taking body shots from Derevchenko.
Yeah.
And I think if Charlo can get one in the right place, that's going to be his key, because he can stop Golovkin if he works to the body. He
By the
can't,
way,
'cause
Derevchenko-
I saw Golovkin curling up in balls, taking body shots of Derevchenko, and I know for a fact that Charlo hits harder than him.
We're doing the whole triangle. No, we're not, but some people are doing the whole triangle theory. Okay, so let's do that theory here. So Golovkin struggled against Derevchenko, but then Derevchenko, what was his fighting style? Right, he was coming in, taking punches, in order to give out some punches. Are you telling me that that's what Charlo gonna be doing? Is that how he's gonna beat Golovkin, fighting like Derevchenko?
No,
Or
he's not picking a
Derevchenko
shot.
got bothered to the body too, Bucho. He got bothered to the body with the punch.
Yeah.
He was putting a beating on Charlo in the 8th round, but he just didn't have enough on those shots.
Right.
Yeah, if that's Triple G.
The thing is, like I
if that's
said,
Triple
Charlo.
G, if that's Triple
It's
G,
not gonna make sense.
he's in a lot of trouble. If that was Triple G, he's in a lot of trouble in that 8th round.
Right. But Charlo is not gonna fight like Derevchenko because he can't fight like Derevchenko.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? So okay. So what is that? Well, it doesn't matter how.
But Charlo brings different things to the game. I mean, he does things a lot.
Let's talk about
his
that.
jab's better than Derevchenko. His punch is more crisp and sharp. He's got more pop behind his shots. Different sort of attributes he's got than
Can I ask
Derevchenko.
something?
Well, let's talk.
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
His jab's better than Derevchenko's, right? I'll give him that. Is it better than Golovkin's?
That's what we're saying. Yeah, like that's if they get into the caller dropped. But shout out to the Dave who called in. Yeah, if they get into a jabbing match, who's going to come out on top? Look, listen, I'm not saying Triple G necessarily beats him, but here's the thing. The Derevchenko fight was a bit of a mirage because Derevchenko was just trying to flood Triple G, who was quite stationary in there. Charlo is a one-shot at a time type of guy, a lot like Canelo. That's why when people said after the Derevchenko fight, in a third fight, Canelo eats Golovkin. I don't think so because Canelo's not going to go in there throwing 70 punches around, and neither is Charlo. So if you think based off the Derevchenko fight that these guys can do the same thing, they're not the same style of fighters. That's my point. I could be wrong.
It's like everybody thought Tommy Hearns was going to chin check Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, after what he did to Duran.
You see, what I think, Charlo and Triple G are very, very similar in some categories. Okay, and size, maybe power, because Charlo doesn't throw that many punches, but when he does throw them, he's going to make them count because he's a big guy, and also in strength. Triple G is kind of like superhuman as far as strength's concerned for his weight category for a human being. But Charlo's also strong, but he's the younger guy. So literally, this is the old lion against the new lion.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I give Charlo, man. I give Charlo. Let me just say it right now. I give Charlo a good fight, a good chance against both of those guys. I think that they're pretty even. But that's my opinion. I think that he's 50-50 with Canelo or Triple G. I would probably slightly favor both of those guys off of experience. Triple G and Canelo. But I wouldn't be surprised if he could pull it out and beat both guys.
All right.
He's big enough, man. He's big enough.
I'll say this right now. Canelo's all wrong for that dude.
That's it. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I cannot stand how wide Charlo's left hook is. I don't like how wide it is with a counter puncher to the body like Canelo. It's meat and gravy, bro.
Yeah, look, I said that. I said Charlo gives anyone a good fight in that division apart from Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, world-class counter-puncher. Actually, everything he does is world-class. I know some of you guys in the chat are not going to like that. Like here, it's getting your blood boiling, isn't it, hearing me say about Canelo? Tough.
All right,
do you guys think Canelo is declining?
I don't think so. Based on what? I mean,
slowing down.
Yeah, because
he's
I've
slowing down
watched
because of the size.
Canelo. Go ahead. Yeah,
Sorry,
I've watched his.
He's slowing down because of the size only.
He did. He really didn't.
Go ahead.
No, you talking about his last fight. He didn't really do that much except load up.
I'm talking about his last two fights.
Yeah. I mean, I
compare.
It could be. Remember, he's had over 50 fights. He
has an injured leg.
Yeah.
If you look at his fights from Lara to Triple G and after that, he was showing improvements, especially in his footwork, but now he looks a lot slower. His punches don't look as hard. I don't know, man. I think he's on the decline.
Look, I don't think he's physically deteriorating because he's breaking down or something. He's 30. He's a young man. We as human beings hit our physical prime at 32. The reason he's slowing down because he's a stocky guy and he's getting bigger. He's putting on more muscle. That's slowing him down.
Well, Gonzalo he's been in 2 wars with Triple G. Like that will take something out of you. And plus the 15 years of fighting and all the training camps and the injuries.
I think I see a slight decline in Canelo. It might be exposed when he fights a top guy next.
When he fought Danny Jacobs, he used good head movement. I noticed that. You know, to block punch, to evade punches. Like he was using a lot of head movement. Maybe that is a sign of him saying, "Look, let me get my head game, my head pause. Let me get my slipping punches up to par because maybe my legs are." Yeah, I mean, he's a human being, bro. I don't care what he's taking. He's still human, and one little injury could fuck up your whole your arsenal.
Here's the thing, fellas, and I wanna show you something later on, but it's about the jabbing contest. It's about the jabbing contest and between Charlo and Triple G. But we're gonna get to that. Let me just check the phone lines real quick. We got a phone call. Hold on a second, real quick. 763, you're on the air. 763.
Hello?
Yes, 763, you're on the air.
Have you guys heard of the Ryan Garcia-Luke Campbell fight?
Yes, we've heard rumors about it.
No one cares.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have you guys ever sucked dick before?
Sorry, I didn't hear your question. What did you say?
Fucking sucked a fat dick.
He sucks a big bag of dicks, you said?
Put a fat dick in your mouth?
You're breaking up, man. I didn't hear what you said. Go ahead.
Ever put a fat dick in your mouth?
He said that he likes fat dicks in his mouth. That's what he said.
Well, now the question is.
Homosexual.
Hold on, I want to hear.
He sounded homosexual.
I want to hear what type of big dicks you like. Them big and veiny or like smooth? What type of dicks you like?
Like Charlo dick.
Oh man, I was asking a question.
Nah, it sounded like he said something about dick.
Yeah, it sounded like something about dicks. Anyway, go ahead because you're breaking up. 763. Go ahead. Repeat your question.
Going on here, man?
Repeat your question. 73663. Go ahead. Oh, he hung up. All right. Well,
what he said? I didn't understand what the hell.
I didn't understand because guys, when somebody's talking on the phone lines, please try not to talk over them because it's hard enough to hear what they're saying with the. Sometimes they got shitty connections, and so if you guys talk over them.
Even when we was quiet, we couldn't understand what that guy was saying.
Hold on, he's calling back. Hold on.
If you're gonna call in,
he's calling back. He's calling back. 763. You're back on the air, man. 763. You're on the air, man. Go ahead.
What are you guys' thoughts on President Trump? Do you think he's hot?
Yeah, man.
President Trump. Yeah, this guy's he's Frank calling.
I don't know what the hell he's saying.
You fuck him?
He said,
wait, Mr. BDA, can you set up StreamYard?
Yeah, I got to set it up. I just want to see if this guy comes up.
If you're going to call in, if you've got a Motorola flip phone, then just don't bother calling in because we ain't going to be able to hear you.
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean,
it ruins the quality for the audience as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. But I mean, hold on. 763, come up with something good. Go ahead. We're listening.
Yeah, man.
Have you guys ever had dick up your asshole?
Yeah, you see, I knew this guy was. Yeah, I hear him clear what he's saying.
I know, but I'm trying to hear something funny. That's why I want to let him talk. Go ahead, 763.
It's not even funny. Mr. BDA, Precise is on Discord, so they don't need to put on StreamYard, man. You don't need to set up StreamYard.
So what? I can just put the.
This guy's talking. He's talking.
The call is still rambling on in the background, BDA.
BDA, just talk over him because he's talking about.
I wanna, guys. I wanna hear. I wanna hear what he has. I wanna see if he has something to say.
Why, man? This guy's crazy.
18 niggas, they were having sex sessions. 18 gay niggas.
What?
He said about having sex with 18 N-words. Just get this clown off the fucking show, man. Come on, man.
All right. Hey, look, you can't say I didn't give him a chance. I was waiting for something funny, but anyway, we've heard better trolls. All right, what were you saying, Bucho? I can put it where the stream?
This guy'd have more chances than Henry Hill. Come on, get him gone.
All right. Anyway. Listen, guys. I'm sorry. I'm too nice. I want to hear what people say, even the trolls, but this one wasn't particularly funny. So, what do you want from me? All right, listen.
Who needs to go back? The guy from Washington. What was his name? Recognize? You told.
Honcho.
Oh, Honcho.
Yeah. That guy was funny.
That guy's from Queens. He's a fucking
Queens. Oh, yeah. No, Jamaica, right?
Jamaica Queens.
Jamaica Queens.
I got a feeling that caller could have been one of the fucking savages that D's got over on his channel. Bless his heart. He's got a few teething problems at the moment, surrounded by savages. We've had that problem, but we've obviously
Is Mark still
picking them
online?
out one by one.
Hey, wait. I just want to read a comment from Mike P. Mike P, thank you for your contribution. He says, somebody said Triple G should have fought Andre Ward back in the day. He says Andre Ward was a damn cruiserweight, for God's sakes. He was big. He fought as a light heavyweight in the Olympics. I mean, these people are crazy. Anyways,
well,
I think we have precise.
But Canelo went and did it. Canelo went and did it against Kovalev. All right, different eras of their career. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, I didn't even finish the sentence, and Butcher's like, nah. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
Well, listen, that old thing about Andrew Ward versus Triple G, that was back in the day, man. But it's over now. It's over now. We got Precise on the Discord, back in the Discord where he belongs. Precise, are you there?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Listen, thank you for being on. We're talking.
I don't hear him.
All right, recognize. Don't you start with your bullshit, man. Come on. see, he's bullshitting with me. All right, yeah, Precise. We're talking about Charlo. We've seen your videos. We know what you thought about his win, but now, as expected, the community, his fans are saying Canelo's shaking in his boots, that he Charlo beats up Triple G. He's the best middleweight. What are your thoughts on that? On those comments?
I agree on the Canelo part.
No,
that guy's. Come on, man. That guy doesn't want to fight anybody. But this is when it comes to Triple G. There's something you guys have omitted, not on purpose, but he's got the IBF title and a 10-pound rehydration clause. Can Charlo make that? I don't think so. That's a big problem, I think, in making that fight. You know what I mean? And just for the record, I don't think Charlo made 160 pounds. And if he did, I would really like to know how he did that, because if Golovkin looked like he was a couple of inches taller than Derevianchenko, Charlo had at least a 4-inch height advantage on that dude.
Precise. I'm actually hearing that Charlo was 181 pounds on that night.
Bro, he was bigger than that. Do
you reckon so?
He was big, man.
Look, the second day weigh-in takes place the morning of the fight, so he still has something like 12 hours to beef up. He was probably, and people can say whatever the hell they want, but if he got with the same sort of methods, techniques, and technology, let's just put it that way, that MMA fighters are using to drop weight, he was 190 in that ring. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was 190 on the night. I mean, he's got to be at least 6'1". His reach is, so he's like an inch taller than Sergey, and he's got like an inch or two reach advantage on him. I mean, come on, man. That dude, how the fuck does he make weight, honestly? Does he make weight? I don't think he does.
I'm like an inch and a half. Well, I'm 6'2.5", and I'm 185. So he should be around my weight. So, yeah, I'm not sure how. Well,
he looks that
160.
In that ring, he looks like a guy pushing 6 feet or a little bit above 6 feet. And like when I see him, I see a guy at least 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, lean. That's what I see when I see that dude. You know, I don't see.
You know what's interesting? His brother, the 54-pounder, looks small. Looks small for junior middleweight, but then his brother looks big. I know they're twins; they're not the same guy, but that's interesting.
But you know, if you look at Jermall, if you look at Jermall Charlo, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, these dudes have been ducking and dodging the drug testing protocol. Why would they do that? I mean, come on, man. We don't got to beat around the fucking bush. Why is the bigger brother getting bigger and bigger than the other brother? Like, what's going on?
Well, I hate to say it.
In his 30s, why was he still growing in his 30s? How?
I hate to say it, but there's Jimmy's he said it before on the podcast here that he's heard rumblings about how Ronnie Shields over down there in Texas, good old Texas, they got a little lab going in his gym, if you know what I mean. There's some stuff circulating, him and other fighters. So I don't know. You know, it's
you see, that's another thing that I take into consideration, BDA. I take the politics into consideration. I take all that stuff. I don't talk about it as much, but you know, when I'm breaking down a fight, and that's why I say I give Charlo a very good shot because look, I don't know if it'll work against Canelo. You know how Canelo is when it comes to drug testing. It probably will work against Triple G, but I've seen Triple G in there with guys that I said, you look like you juiced up crazy for this fight, and I still see Triple G winning those fights. Danny Jacobs comes to mind. But the problem is that he's older now, right? So I see a little bit of a decline. I don't see the huge decline that people were talking about because remember, he's fighting bigger guys now, with the exception of Derevianchenko and Canelo. He's fighting the bigger competition and better fighters. Those guys are going to give him good fights. Those guys are good fighters. And then they're on something on top of that. Okay, like, I don't need a failed drug test. Just look at the hoopla that they did with Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs, last minute, was like, I'm not going to agree to the rehydration, the IBF rehydration clause. And I'm gonna and Triple G who did when he fought Canelo. Not that it really mattered with Canelo because he's short, but he's another one that we don't know what kind of weight he was in there, especially that first fight and the second fight too. To be honest, in the second fight. So these are little things that I take into consideration are the politics that favor certain fighters, and you put into the same equation that these guys are naturally good fighters anyway.
That's right.
So of course Triple G's not looking great in there.
Well, listen, he's doing pretty good for a guy that's got cinder blocks for feet supposedly. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Let's go to 952. You're on the air. 952. 952. You're on the air.
952. Hello?
Yeah, 952. You're on the air, man.
Yeah. So I was just curious. I just have a question. So you know about like all the YouTube stuff, like how the YouTube went into boxing, right? Kind of how it's transforming the boxing game.
Yeah, I think I know. Yep. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we got Jake Paul fighting Logan KSI, all other people. I think they're really forming like a new era for boxing. Like that's kind of where I kind of want to discuss. Like what are your thoughts on Logan Paul and Mayweather fighting?
Well, anybody want to talk about the Aryan archetype versus Floyd Mayweather?
Look, just depressing even talking about it. Really is. I mean, look.
Do you think
if you listen, Alistair, if you thought boxing couldn't get any lower, this comes along. I mean, Conor McGregor would sleep Jake Paul in a fucking heartbeat. He couldn't beat Floyd Mayweather. So what makes you think Jake Paul, a man that can't beat KSI for fuck's sake, a YouTube gamer? I mean, what?
Fight, do you think?
Hey, what sort of freak show do we have to have before someone stands up and says this is enough? I mean, they'll be sticking in dwarfs in there next, and people with one legs and shit. Well, we're gonna have fucking wheelchair boxing as well. Where are we going with this?
Tranny boxing.
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, we're gonna have the LGBT. Get some fucking dyke scrapping in it for over a dildo or something. Well, where are we going? Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, freak show. Yeah. That's what I think. Freak show.
Transformed. Just like my opinion, I think after the fight, to make it up a little bit, some cuddling, some sex, they're gonna fuck each other in the ass. It's just gonna be just like that. Because the game is changing. People like you might not want to accept it, but it's a new era of boxing.
Well, then they would have to do that on Pornhub. Then they're not gonna be fucking doing that on the zone.
You know what? I get what the caller's saying. Look, we live in a different time. That's just not real boxing to me, and to most. I'm gonna say most people on the panel.
Like you don't want
that's not.
Go ahead, recognize. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, look, that's not real boxing. I don't care. Like, what's my thoughts on that? Whatever.
Listen.
Who's Floyd Mayweather gonna fight next? The winner. Floyd Mayweather's gonna fight the winner between Biden and Trump. Like, what's that? Bro?
If that's boxing, mate. If that's fucking boxing, you can keep boxing. If that's boxing, keep it, man. I don't want it. Have it. I mean, I don't want to be anywhere near that sort of fucking. Look.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Losing the will to talk, just talking about it. Losing the will to live. Sorry, just talking about it. Just a terrible fight. Floyd Mayweather. If you buy that, then you're a fucking clown. And I'm saying it now online.
Live on air. If you buy that fight, you're a fucking clown.
Well, listen,
By the
everybody's
way-
got their what?
Oh, sorry. By the way, recognize I was watching that Biden-Trump debate, and I thought I was watching the BDA, man. So many
That's not a good thing, man.
interruptions. It's like, this is worse than the BDA.
That's not a good thing, man. Hey, by the way, hold on. Before we continue, shout out to Chris K, who says Desania's Gino has something to say about PEDs. Oh, all right. All right, so listen, 952, we get what you're saying. You don't like the Mayweather Logan Paul fight, so we're going to let you go. We're going to move on to the next call. Take it easy, all right, man? All right. Let's go to, I got another phone call. 585, you're on the air. 585.
Oh, this is Vince.
How you doing, Mr. BDA?
How you doing, Vinny? How you doing?
Oh, Vinny, my boy.
How you doing, Mr. Recognize as well? I'm doing great. I love this topic. Jermall Charlo, one word, sensational.
Gotcha.
All right. Go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, what did he say, BD? I missed that. What did he say?
He said one word for Charles' performance. Sensational. Go ahead, Vinny.
Okay.
Yes. I would say Triple L will definitely take another L if he were to fight Mr. Jermall Charlo. That was sensational.
Charlo.
Power jab. A looping left hook. His left hook is amazing, and he'll definitely catch Triple L with that shot. It was just amazing performance, guys. I was so happy.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Go fuck yourself. Bye. So let's move on to
Yes, Mr. Recognize, I would say Mr.
I'm kidding.
Carlo should be considered for pound consideration in the top 10. I'm sure you guys agree.
No one agrees.
Recognize.
Don't speak for us. No one agrees.
Did Vinny pay you the money he owes you?
No, I don't know. Let me ask you something. Did you do the donation, the bet that we had? I told you that Tyson Fury was going to beat your boy. You still haven't paid that, right? Am I wrong, guys, or did he pay up?
I do not recall that.
Of course you don't.
Do you know if you'd fucking took that bet with the Mafia, they'd have broke your kneecaps for not paying that?
Yeah, I should send some people. You're at 585, huh? So you're upstate New York. You see, I know.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
You do know Recognize knows some Latino kings and all that. He knows all them.
I know people in that 585 area code. I know it's that.
Yeah, man.
Vinny, we're pressed for time here, so go ahead with your final comments because we got to move on, all right, man?
Yes, Mr. BDA, final comments. Mr. Mayweather versus Jake Paul, tremendous. We need eyes on the sport, guys, and Mayweather's number one at that, and he's the best ever. And I definitely would pay for that, Mr. BDA. Also,
of course you pay for it. You're a dipshit.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm not going to let you. I'm
not
going
to let you. He's a dick.
I'm not going to let you talk. I'm not going to let you talk to our fucking callers that way, all right? You're out of line, Stu. You're out of line.
I don't care. I'll call him a dipshit. He's a dipshit.
Don't make me pull rank on you, soldier. All right. Listen, Vinny, we got to go, right, man?
Private pal.
Take it easy.
And, go Joe Biden. Thank you.
You're right, Vinny. You're a good boy. You're a good lad, Vinny. It's just I can't accept someone
Joe Biden
calling in, talking about that fight like it's a good fight. I mean,
we could talk about God, and he'll be like, Lucifer is the real deal.
Exactly. Hey, listen, fellas. Well, thank you for calling in, Vinny. I wanted to show you something real quick here on the. If you click on the Discord, you'll see the PowerPoint there. Because I added. Everybody's talking about. We're talking about the jab, right? Now, here's Jermall, big Jermall, getting out jabbed by Brian Adams, okay? Who's about, according to BoxRec, he's 5'9". He looks more like 5'7.5" in there. And look, this isn't photoshopped. How the fuck am I going to Photoshop video? I'm not that smart.
Look how big he is in this fight. Look how big the boy is. Look at those. Look at the biceps. Look at his back.
The upper body is really, and then you would say, oh well, the legs must be skinny. The legs are not that skinny, man. Actually,
he
they're
looks
not.
like a fucking. He looks like he should be fighting with at light heavyweight, bro.
Yeah, he does. He looks huge in there. The problem with Charlo in this fight is he's looking to counter, and he's second to the punch. It seems all the time, just with the jab. Like, who is this in here? Sorry, this is Adams. Brandon Adams. Adams is always Adams is always first to the punch. Always the one that landing the jab first. What's Charlo waiting for? He's the one that needs to dictate the pace. Look, getting his head jabbed off because he's just standing around there with his hands down doing nothing. So look. I thought the performance against Derevchenko was a lot better. But yeah, this is just showing that if this guy can have this sort of success, you've got to expect Golovkin to hit this guy with a jab, ain't you?
And if you could back him up, Stu, I think he wins. I think he wins the fight. I think he does convincingly.
I'm still tipping Golovkin to win this fight because I'm not like a lot of people. I don't see one good performance and get overexcited. Look, I was very impressed with Charlo, and he's going to be a problem for anyone. But I can't accept saying he's going to beat someone like Golovkin without really showing me.
Look how his head. Hey Stu, look how his head snapping back from the jab.
Yeah.
Well, the reason
why,
why
one thing for sure, hey, recognise, though, Golovkin's going to be getting tagged up in that Charlo fight. You just know it is.
Yeah, but we've seen Triple G get hit, and we've seen him most of the time throughout his career that it doesn't really faze him. He does know how to like roll those punches while he's throwing punches too. So, look, again, depending on how much we'll see in this fight that he's got coming up. I mean, it's not going to really be much. Obviously, nobody expects that guy to win. But I think that Triple G still has it in him.
I think Brandon Adams' jab, though. Brandon Adams' jab's very underrated. I mean, he's coming. These jabs are from funny angles. Some of these jabs, so like I said, Charlo's just waiting for the perfect punch, waiting for his opening to come, and he's getting tagged up while he's waiting. He's getting his head jabbed off. So look, he has to dictate the pace with the jab. He needs to be first to the punch. He's got to use his speed against Golovkin. He can't be waiting for Golovkin to hit him first. He's got to be using his speed, getting Golovkin off his timing, because Golovkin's going to be coming forward, cutting off the angles behind that guard, waiting to land big shots. These jabs are key for Charlo. If he can't get his jab working, he's in massive trouble against Golovkin. I'm telling you that now.
Golovkin has never been the fastest boxer, but the timing is there.
Look how easily Bone Adams beats him.
Bone Adams
with his front foot. I mean, whatever the fuck is that? Whatever his name is.
T-Bone Adams. Yeah, go ahead.
T-Bone Adams. What's his name? Adam. Whatever the fuck his name is. That dude. Brandon Adams. Look how Brandon Adams' front foot is beating. This guy's Charlo's front foot because there's no movement there. He doesn't use his feet. See the key. If you watch boxing long enough. If you see two orthodox fighters exchange punches, you will see that both of their foot meet like it's almost like an X, right? It meets in an X. When a guy's foot gets there way before yours, he's gonna hit you. He's gonna beat you in that exchange.
It doesn't help. Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Real quick. I'll say this. That's because of his wide stance, and I think that if he starts doing that against Triple G will come with the overhand right because he'll feel the rhythm enough to get there before Charlo can let off a punch.
Yeah, I let spot on recognise that stance far too wide, and he's actually given up height by having that stance. I mean, if you're that size, you got to fight big. Why do these guys fight small when they're big? You just look, and that stance, the foot, you cannot get your feet. You cannot move your feet quick enough when your stance is that wide. Look, Brandon Adams has got the right stance. Look where his feet are. That's where you've got to be. That's where you've got to be. Where Brandon Adams is not like Charlo. Charlo's it's like a wilder sort of stance, really wide.
If Brandon Adams was as big as or close to Jermall Charlo, he beats him.
I want to say something about the style here because Charlo is a lot like Danny Garcia. He's a boxer puncher. He wants guys to jump on him so he can counter. That's why I picked him against Derevchenko because I knew the shorter Derevchenko was going to have to jump in and Charlo was going to try to pick him off. But against Triple G is not going to be jumping in. He's going to be able to jab him from the outside. Here's Julian Williams, who's quicker than Derevchenko, or at least he's more of a straight shooter. He was catching Charlo with some good shots. Here he is jabbing off the hook. Now here we have, and this is just a sample of Triple G against Daniel Jacobs, who in my opinion, it's just my opinion, is just as good, if not a tad better, than Charlo. And we saw that Triple G's jab was on triple point on this fight. If it wasn't for that jab, he wouldn't have won that fight. And
The
look
thing
at
is, though,
Jacobs.
it's very similar. It's very similar to how Brandon Adams was landing the jab, stepping into the jab, and Charlo was struggling to deal with it. This very similar jab, but Golovkin's obviously looks better on the eye. This definitely does. But yeah, I mean, Charlo's not getting out of the way of them. So look, this fight's. If anyone thinks Golovkin is going to stand no chance because Charlo beat Derevchenko's ass, I mean, I don't understand it. This is still a very hard fight for Charlo to win. And
look, Danny, and if you look at this, Danny Jacobs is the significantly bigger guy in this ring, and he's still backing him up. A guy who has his feet planted, what I say is the right way, and you can see that Triple G's catching him without stepping into his front foot, stepping into Danny Jacobs' front foot. He's still catching him with the jab and snapping his head back. I just think that against Charlo, if he doesn't straighten out that stance and certain points of that fight, that could hurt him still with Triple G close to 40 or whatever the fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Golovkin is a sort of champion that will never sell a defeat like really cheap. He's kind of like Pacquiao, a great fighter that even though he goes in there and he might lose, he will never lose by a landslide. He will be competitive till the very end.
Charlo couldn't beat Golovkin in a million years. He will never beat Golovkin, okay? If Golovkin loses, it's going to be Father Time beating. Technically, Charlo is at least one level below Triple G. I mean, he makes so many mistakes that Golovkin could capitalize on. The only thing is that he's huge, so he's going to be able to take the power probably, and we don't know how Golovkin's going to take this dude's punches. That the only advantages that Charlo has here are physical. Technically, it's a mismatch.
You can't say Golovkin's old. You can't say Golovkin's old.
Jesus fucking! I mean, look at it like this. I'm pretty sure Marvin Hagler was retired by the age of 4. He didn't want any of these young guys.
By 33, he was done.
He was 35.
And then whatever. That's not a diss to him. You know, he had a long career. He had 61 fights. Whatever. It is what it is. But I'm saying the simple fact that we're sitting here and we're giving Charlo praise for. I mean, I gave him whatever, a little bit of praise. But the fact that he's getting praised for fighting leftovers, Golovkin's leftovers, the same guy that David Lemieux would knock the fuck out clean. And when Golovkin destroyed David Lemieux, barely got touched in that fight. It was a technical masterpiece, masterclass. People are going to sit there and say, oh, David Lemieux wasn't shit. Put David Lemieux in the ring with Derevchenko right now. My money is on Lemieux by knockout. If you can make the fucking weight. I don't know about that. Derevchenko, what does he do that David Lemieux cannot do? What does he do? Throws more punches, right? With like slaps. David Lemieux will pick his.
Oh, come on. People forget about Lemieux's power, man. People started forgetting about Lemieux's power. But
if he hits him, we're going to find out about his chin for real, especially by now. Because David Lemieux hits harder than Golovkin. I don't care what anybody says. That dude
I agree.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, he
does. About to say.
That would be a good fight.
And
because go ahead.
I know. I was hoping they would make that fight or put him in the ring with Rosado, man, and don't be surprised if Rosado beats him. Anyway, I'm not dissing Derevchenko, but in this fight against Charlo, he was not the same type of Derevchenko that we saw in some of his previous fights. The lateral movement wasn't there. For some reason, it just wasn't there. The activity wasn't there. His face, you could just look at the weigh-in photos. His face was permanently rearranged. So all that Charlo had to do was tap him a few times, and that shit was going to start swelling up like a fucking melon. And that's exactly what it did. And one last thing I'm going to say about... Yeah, what's up?
No, go ahead.
No, one last thing about Charlo's... One flaw that I saw in Charlo, Golovkin will take advantage of. Just one. It's the fact that when he jabs, he stands on his front foot. So he gives up his height and reach, and Golovkin's going to have a fucking heyday with that. And the guy can move a little bit. He is fast. He's very strong.
You know, he could take punches, but like he's a little bit flat-footed, and he's just basic. He's a basic 1-2 guy. Yeah, he's got a nice uppercut. He's got a nice move here and there, but he's really basic. Fights with his hands down, and Derevianchenko could not miss the fucking right hand, man. Whenever he threw the right hand, sure, Charlo rolled it, sure, he blocked it, but that fucking right hand, every single time he threw it, was on target, hitting something. And Golovkin's not the fastest guy, but that jab is gonna take away your vision, and if the right hand follows the fucking jab, we'll see just how good his chin is. If he can make the rehydration clause, which I mean, you know, like that's a huge sticking point, let's be honest. But if he can do that, he's not going to be this big ass strong Charlo, okay? That's why Golovkin, one of the reasons why Golovkin struggled against Derevianchenko is because he had to make that 10-pound rehydration clause. I mean, we're comparing apples to oranges over here and acting like Charlo did some amazing thing against a guy that Golovkin would never get credit for anyway. It's ridiculous, man.
Well,
I don't know, man.
precise.
It just pisses me off.
We gotta give. Well, you don't have to do anything, but I'm saying is I give Charlo credit because the reason why Derevchenko didn't look all that hot in there in the beginning was because he was shocked by Charlo's counterpunching. He was quick on that trigger, man, and he made Derevchenko hesitate. Once Derevchenko said, "Fuck it, I gotta jump in there and make something happen," then the fight got close. Fact is, nobody's having an easy time with Derevchenko. The guy's a pit bull in there. He's got an iron chin. He doesn't give a fuck. He's got... Wow, come on, man. Derevchenko's good, man.
The guy is done. Derevianchenko is done, man.
Remains to be seen.
He's gonna get whooped by a bum, man. He's gonna get into one of these fights. If he doesn't have enough comeback fights or whatever, he's gonna get in the ring with somebody that he's gonna be like a 3-4-1 favorite against, and he's gonna get fucking stomped, man. When people fight Golovkin, they are not the same, especially when they have a tough fight against. He destroys you at least to a degree. You'll see Derevianchenko, forget about it, man.
But look,
this is why I picked Charlo to win by a wide points decision, because I just saw I saw stuff in that Golovkin fight where this was the end for Derevchenko. You can't take beatings like that and come back a new man and a better fighter. They take it out of you for life. And
Precise.
You know, I was going to
I
ask
agree with what Precise said.
Precise did
he was finished. Hang on a minute, Gonzalo.
But
he was finished. He was showing signs that he was finished in there against Golovkin when he was getting beat up by him. So I just thought Charlo was just going to be look, you have to keep it real. Charlo was very impressive. Whether you like the guy or not, whether Derevchenko's not as good as people think, he did what he had to do. We called for him to fight someone decent. He went in there. No one was complaining about the fight beforehand. So we can't, after the fight, after he gets the job done, sit here and say, oh, well, this, that, and that. Look, take it out to Charlo. Very good performance, but we've got to keep it real. It doesn't mean he does that to Golovkin. That's where I am.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
real quick, I just want to say real quick, Precise did a video, and he was showing that Derevianchenko, I think it was a week or two before the fight, did an interview, and he had black circles under his eyes. He thought, I think Precise was saying that maybe that happened in sparring, that he had that in sparring. What I think happened was, it could have happened in sparring. I think happened was the way the facial damage that Derevianchenko suffered in that fight with Triple G. It looked like Triple G broke something in his orbital bone, and that could give you black circles. When like I've seen somebody that I know that had his orbital bone broken, and his eyes will get black, like he just got into a fight. And I asked him, like, hey, what happened? Did you just get into a fight? And he'd be like, no. I said, because your eyes are dark.
That happened to me, Eric. I was in a street fight, and I got a black eyes for like 3 months. My bone was bruised.
Right.
I was going to say something. I was going to say something. Look, this fight, I had made comparisons to Precise between Meldrick Taylor and Chavez, because they've in the past made comparisons between Golovkin and Chavez. But look, Derevianchenko, he kind of fought like Meldrick Taylor, because Taylor threw a lot of punches, and like Derevianchenko, they're kind of like slaps, right? And in that fight, Meldrick Taylor got damaged. He was damaged goods. So it's not far-fetched to believe that one fight can take it out of you, because Meldrick Taylor, after that fight against Chavez, his career was over.
Great fucking point, man. Great fucking point.
I want to add something, though, because Derevchenko, he looked like crap against Jack Kolke before he fought Golovkin. Now, Kolke makes everybody look bad, but are we going to say Jacobs ruined Derevchenko the trip?
That's a good look. Good question. But what I would say is, Koke is like, a quote unquote slick fighter. He can make you look bad. So it's not like physical, like some real. Maybe mentally you're like you're mentally exhausted after a fight with Koke. Where you fight Triple G, you're physically and mentally exhausted. And that interview, I don't know where Precise got that, but there's an interview that, like I said, it was like 2 weeks or a week before the fight against Charlo. He looked like he had a black eye. I think that's the sign of somebody that got his, around the area of his eye broken. Something broken in his face, and I wouldn't be surprised because of the way he looked after the Triple G fight that happened in that fight.
Yeah, but my thing is this. I agree. I'm not saying Kolke ruined, that Jacobs ruined the Derevchenko, and it's not the same comparison because obviously Triple G landed some hard bombs, flush bombs on Derevchenko. But Derevchenko, if he were shot, man, he wouldn't have been able to survive in there against Charlo. I mean, he was pushing Charlo around. So I'm getting the point of view here that some people think, all right, either Charlo sucked so much that he couldn't take out a shot Derevchenko, or Derevchenko wasn't ruined by Triple G, and Charlo beat him by about 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 5, which is good.
No, I'm saying if you wanna make the comparison with Golovkin and how he fought Derevchenko, then yeah, I think we have the right to bring these facts up, right? The fact that he was in a war. And by the way, listen, I think for people to say that we don't have we can't bring this issue up about Derevchenko being done and everything or damaged. I think we can, because most of us predicted that Charlo was going to win. Now, if people, like somebody mentioned, all people in the chat were saying that Derevchenko was going to win by knockout, 8th round. Okay, sure. If these people said that, and then all of a sudden say, "Oh, Derevchenko was done," then that's hypocritical. But that's them.
Yeah.
Most on this fucking panel, we predicted that Charlo was going to win. So
yeah. That's why I predicted Charlo to win, because I just said it's too young, too fresh, too strong. Derevchenko, look, one beating too many. And he's just not going to have enough on the night. So what do you guys want from us? I mean, look, the fact is Charlo was very impressive, and Derevchenko, he's still got a bit left. I agree with BDA, he's not done, but he's not at the level where he's going to beat these top guys anymore. I think he's becoming cannon fodder, like Precise said. He's going to go in there with a young and up-and-coming guy, and he's going to get his ass whooped and probably stopped.
One thing that I had mentioned that still prevails in Derevchenko's fighting style is his spirit. His spirit as a human, especially after trying 2 times and coming up short, it was there to try to become a champion. That was like he still had that fire under him. He wanted this really, really bad. He just didn't get it, man. He's an exciting fighter, bro.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with Gonzalo.
It was a bad style matchup against Charlo. I mean, this Derevchenko's 5'9". At least against Golovkin, who's about 5'11", there wasn't that much of a disparity. But against Charlo, big, quick on the counterpunching trigger, it just wasn't going to happen. By the way, just real quick,
the mid-range, 1 minute, the mid-range of Charlo was the problem for Derevchenko. Every time Derevchenko tried to get inside, he was getting tagged at mid-range with big shots. That was the problem.
Absolutely. Now, look, hold on. Real quick, Mike P, shout out to Mike P with the super chat feature, just gave in there a little contribution. He says, does anyone think Triple G changing trainers made it worse?
Probably.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, GD was on decline. I don't think the trainers have much to do with it.
I have a theory about that, but I want to hear you guys.
How about that? It didn't help.
When you're 38 years old, I mean, does a change in a trainer really going to do anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of shady when he went and picked up his bags to what is it, a Big Bear and his brother. What's his brother's name? Triple G's Max. He just went and got the things, and it was just like, what's going on? Kind of like that.
And somebody mentioned how Banks has been just kind of talking down to or about Triple G, like not really sticking up for his fighter, like saying, yeah, he looked bad, and just like, I get that, you want to be honest or whatever, but this is boxing. No one's fucking honest. For what reason? You know what I mean?
That's the problem, though, Precise. There's not enough people honest with these fighters. You've got to be honest with them. Look, I was enough.
But that's not what I'm saying.
You were fucking horrible to watch. You got to be honest with them, so they're not.
No. In the gym, like to your own fighter, yeah, but on camera and shit, you don't put them down, man. That's fucked up. That's a little slimy.
Yeah, now I agree with that.
For sure. In the gym, yeah, be honest with him, 100%. But like in the public eye, like promote your product, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think that's the analogy with Jose Mourinho, where I think that's where he's losing the plot because he's calling his players out live on air in interviews, and you just don't do that with athletes. Boxers are a lot of these boxers are snowflakes. They might be tough guys with their hands, but a lot of them are snowflakes. They don't like saying anything bad about them, especially when you're in the boxing business. Some of these fighters won't even entertain you because you've said something bad about them 5 years ago or something. They're real snowflakes, so you've got to be very careful. And yeah, but you've also got to be honest when no one's watching to say, look, that's not fucking good enough. So Joey knows. I mean, if you're telling someone, oh yeah, you just keep doing what you're doing, you end up like Chris Eubank Jr., don't you?
Yeah.
I kind of have to question something. Look, Jonathan Banks, he's got a little bit of brain damage, I think, and he doesn't enunciate his words very well. And to speak to a foreigner like Triple G, where you kind of have to speak slow and pronounce your words good, how effective can you be?
You know something? Gonzalo, you bring up a good point. Like, I'm tired of these. Like, look, I get it. Eastern European fighters hiring American, foreign fighters just hiring American trainers. Yo, why don't you get in there with somebody that speaks your language where there is no problem? You don't have to worry about this shit. Now, look, people can say, well, Triple G's been successful. What are you talking about? I get it. Yeah, he has. But maybe at this point, he needs somebody that can speak his language. So there is no problem. It's just fluent information coming back and forth. I don't have to hear John. I understand Triple G understands English, especially English boxing talk. I'm pretty sure he understands where he's coming from. But yeah, a lot of these Eastern European fighters, I think they need to get with somebody.
Has Golovkin actually gone back to Abel Sanchez then?
No,
I don't think so. No.
So he's still with Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks, yeah.
If that's me, I think he went style with Sanchez a long time ago. I thought he should have gone a long time. I like Jonathan Banks. I think does Jonathan Banks' style of fighting suit Golovkin's? Not really. Golovkin would be better going into the crunk with them boys.
I think he's going into every fight training him to beat Canelo. That's my personal opinion.
But the thing is, like I said, I still think it was going style with Abel. Abel Sanchez is burnt out Golovkin at the Big Bear. He has. I mean, look, I'll keep saying it. I'll say it again tonight. When was the last time you see Golovkin enter a boxing ring in the best shape he could possibly be in? He's just always 50-60%. He looked dead on the scales when he fought Kell Brook. I mean, I thought the guy had about 2 days to live. Looking at him, do you know what I mean? So
I think promotionally wise, if that's a word, he did better for him because this might be controversial. GGG probably felt that he needed to speak up more for himself, but I think Abel was a good mouthpiece for him. Especially with the whole Mexican style thing. In the end, it got played out. Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, he was talking to Canelo as if he was going to get in the ring in there with him, and I mean, it was just it got a little bit forced, in my opinion. By the way, just real quick, let's go to the phone lines. 727, you're on the air. 727.
Yeah, there are two things, boys. Number one, what Prasad was saying, IBF waives that for a unification bout, that rehydration. And second of all, y'all talking about the franchise champ at 160. So watch your mouths.
Was that Pete, man?
How come he sounds like a hillbilly?
Yeah, why did he Pete? I think it was Pete, but why does he sound like fucking Max Cady all of a sudden? Yeah. Sound like Max Cady. I could get upset. All right, anyway. Listen, shout out to the call. Hold on a second. We got another call. Let's go to 929. You're on the air. 929.
That's New York.
Yo, what's up?
You tell me, man. What do you want to talk about?
It's Virtuoso, man. You don't recognize me? Oh, what's up?
Oh, Virtuoso.
What's up, Virtuoso? Yes, I recognize you. I recognize, no point intended.
Hey, yo, bro. OG, what up, man?
I'm good, brother. Everything good over there in the Heights?
Yeah, man, everything's good, man. I'm doing fine, man. I'm working. So
shout out to the Dominicans out there.
I wanted to talk about the Charles real quick. I think Jermall, after the performance he had, he pretty much showed that, okay, this whole thing about the whole rhetoric with him, deserving to fight, and his entitlement to fight in Triple G, that's all void now. Because, he's shown the skills and the determination to really to compete with the best. But the thing is, his fans, right, annoy the shit out of me, trying to extrapolate that this guy's going to take over the division. He only has one belt, and they have to come to with the reality of what Crawford is facing, and that his promotion is not as entrenched in certain divisions. Like PBC is deep in fucking 147 and 154, which is why I feel like Jermall, his little brother, is more deserving to be in the pound for pound rankings. You know, there's much deeper talent, and he's got the most belts. He's just one shy of becoming undisputed if he fights, he beats Patrick Teixeira. Charlo, okay. They're gonna have to come to grips with the fact that after this, he's not gonna follow up with another significant win. I wish that they would notice that the talent that he has, and in order to do that, that he has to take on the best challengers available, and not just fight just bums. If not, you're not gonna set up a pay-per-view, a big fight with the names such as Golovkin or Canelo. That's just not gonna happen unless you try to up your profile as far as selling pay-per-view, because they're just not gonna make money with you. You're just gonna fight no names and then finally fight somebody of significance. But let's be honest, Derevianchenko, I found him to be shop worn. Not to take credit from his victory, but he was shop worn. He took a beating from Triple G last year, and he had a long layoff due to COVID. And that's not either fighter's fault. That's just those are just the breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Charlo cannot be a diva. He can't turn down $7 million to fight unpaid, and then have his brother expose him for allegedly turning down a fight with Canelo Alvarez. That's just not going to happen. You're going to have to also deal with the fact that Charlo is not going to be the A side in this, in this division. There are bigger names, yeah. Like Jacobs. I wish he would fight Jacobs, and I wish they could get the fight on. I would like to see that fight more than I do versus Triple G. I just don't think it's unrealistic for Triple G, to fight him now, being that he's also being paid handsomely to do the same shit that Charlo's doing, just more, fighting guys the likes of Steve Rolls for $14 million. And now
listen.
Zeremata. Yeah, Zeremata, and it's like, but yeah, man, it's just they gotta have to set him up properly, in order to get the big fights.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now that's the thing, man. Charlo can go back after the Derevchenko fight. He can go back to fighting the Adams of the world or the Ocampo, whatever the guy. No, not Ocampo. The guy with the one leg. Long John Silver. Can be doing that.
Highland. Sebastian Highland.
Highland can be doing that, man. But now, guys, here's my question to you, fellas. If Charlo gets a fight, let's say you're the czar of boxing, you can do what you can set up any fight you want. Who would you rather see him in there against? Andrade, Triple G, or Golovkin? Well, there you go.
Triple G.
Triple G.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I mean, for me, Canelo's just a bit too. Canelo's in the prime of his years at the moment. He's going to take a monster of a man to beat that guy. Look, I'm talking 175. So for me, Charlo, look, let's not get carried away. Charlo's a very, very good fighter, and he handles most people in that division. Golovkin, for me, is a 50-50 fight. When you go to Canelo, I just think Canelo's just a little bit better at the moment. And I just think, especially with what Canelo does good, it's going to be a problem from Charlo because he seems to struggle with them sort of things.
Hold on. But this is the fights that Canelo needs also, man. He's been fighting fighters like above 35. He needs to fight fighters in their prime. He needs a signature win because all his fights have been close too. He hasn't done anything to blow anybody out of the water. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree, Gonzalo. Yeah, I think Charlo would be a very good name on Canelo's record, but I'm not sure if Canelo's too first to be dropping down to 160, killing himself at the weight to fight Jermall Charlo. It's like I said earlier, it's about the peas, mate. It's about fighting someone that's going to... Golovkin is still going to bring big numbers, whether you like it or not. He's got a lot of fangirls. Our channel's proof of that. So look, he's going to bring in... And I don't know if Charlo's... I think they're still building Charlo. I think they're still building Charlo. So Golovkin would be Golovkin would be a good start for me, but Canelo Alvarez, I don't know. I don't think he's ready for that yet.
It's the Mayweather blueprint: fighting fighters past their prime many years after the fight should have happened. And Canelo, if he's not fighting at 60, those guys just to end that, he should be fighting Billy Joe Saunders or Callum Smith at 60.
Yeah, he should have done it. Yeah, he should have took that fight, and this is why the DAZN have been trying to renegotiate the contract. They've dropped it down from 32 million a fight to 21 or 22, I believe. So they're obviously not happy. I mean, let's be real. They paid him 32 million to beat Rocky Fielding, for fuck's sake. I mean, look, they want more than that, and I think DAZN have been calling for the Triple G fight, and I don't think Canelo is too fussed about that one. I don't think he really wants
from the age bracket of 27 to like 30, 31. Fight those guys.
Well, listen, I want to hear from Jimmy over here too as well, because
Jimmy.
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, Gonzalo, was that you two shows in a row, fucking dogged Mexicans? I thought you were supposed to be only pro-Mexican, bro.
Oh, no, wait for
we've got him. That's not Gonzalo then. That's an imposter. We've got an imposter on it.
That's his brother.
It's Ryan Garcia fan. Ryan Garcia.
So, what's going on, man? Everybody still we're talking to Triple G Charlo?
Yeah,
BDA was asking if.
Can I ask Jimmy? Jimmy, here's a question: did Charlo fight Golovkin's leftovers?
Oh God.
Did he fight? Well, I mean, it's just factual. I mean, it's not my opinion. I guess he actually did. I mean, I caught on the show. I think when I don't know who exactly said it, but when you do fights like guys who've hit it hard as Triple G, not just Triple G, but anyone hits hard as him, it does take a little bit out of you. I mean, it does every time. It takes a little bit out of you. So I mean, it's not even my opinion. Yes, he did. He fought somebody that after. And right now it's so funny that the guy that I remember when Triple G first was signed to fight him, that side of the fence with the Triple G derangement syndrome. Oh fucking he was just being Derinchenko was nothing, just a fucking scrub. It was so funny, and then even after he beat him, after he beat him, then it was fucking so what? Who the fuck is Derinchenko? So now that he lost, he got robbed. Now he lost to Triple G. Cello fights him now. Cello deserves to be on the fucking top 10.
But like I said, with them sort of clowns, you just got to let them get on with it. Us at the BDA, we try to
say that side. Yeah, exactly. When I say that, it's not just.
We're not here to pander to people. We see a performance and we tell you what we see. Charlo was very good on the night. Let's not hate it. We've got to keep it real. I can't stand people that come on and say, "Oh, I'm not impressed with Charlo." No, that's your heart telling you that, not your head. He was very good the other night.
Look, when I say Charlo,
but something that people need to take into consideration is the fact that he didn't fight the same guy. Like, you can't just ignore that, because that's
we can't. No,
but hold on.
Can't
but hold on. Let me finish. Like Derevianchenko in the Golovkin fight. I mean, he must have landed at least 40 low blows. He was headbutting him. He was hitting him behind the head. He didn't do any of that against Charlo. That made Charlo's job easier. Now, he did a good job. Don't get me wrong. But he didn't fight the same guy. You guys, I'm guessing that when you guys were watching the Golovkin-Derevianchenko fight, you were shocked to see Golovkin backed up and in trouble. Yeah. He was in trouble, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
but stop concentrating on that and look at how Derevianchenko was hurt. How many times he was hurt in that fight, and how well he recovered and went after Golovkin. He did not have that extra oomph in his gas tank against Charlo. And one last thing. Let me finish. Go look at Billy Collins after that Luis Resto fight. Go look at his face, and then go look at Derevianchenko's face after Golovkin's fight, man, and tell me what the difference is.
Yeah, it looks the same.
I mean, I think that's...
Like, look, I understand he gave him a good fight, but, like, I want to be... Okay, if you ask me, who do you want to be in that ring at that moment? I'm like, the dude that... Not the dude that looks like, he needs surgery in his face. Definitely not him. I don't want to be that guy. I just don't want to be him. And I get it. Like, real quick, this one point that I wanted to also make about the difference between Derevianchenko against Golovkin versus Charlo. Look, me personally, I don't like doing that whole triangle theory. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So to me, like, there's enough proof in history in boxing that shows you that doesn't always work, right? You could go, like, you could find many examples of legendary fighters that prove that. Now, there is a difference, bro. Remember, the guy fought going into this fight. He hasn't fought in a year. His last fight was against Triple G. You got the whole COVID thing, how you train, and look, you could say both sides had that same situation, but the difference is that Jermall Charlo is not coming off a devastating fight where he won, he edged it out, he suffered a lot. No, he's the fresher guy. He's the bigger guy too. And in the beginning, it looked like it was affecting Derevianchenko, right? He didn't have that same energy. I think he picked it up later on in the second half of the fight. I think he did a lot better, and he was catching Jermall Charlo. That doesn't mean, like, let's stop translating that into, well, that automatically means he's going to beat Canelo. He's going to beat, Canelo never fought Derevianchenko. He's going to beat Triple G, right? That's just being foolish. When I hear that, I know that I'm not talking to a guy who's just talking about boxing. He's talking about something else. He's hoping that translates to I beat Triple G. And he might beat Triple G. He might beat him. But he won't beat him in his prime. And that's a fact.
Well, of course not, but that's not going to happen. We can't talk about fantasy stuff here. Look, I was impressed with Charlie's performance. Yet I'm still picking Golovkin to win the fight if they get it on. So look, I don't know what you guys want from me, but I'm not going to sit here and pander to Charlo fans. I'm not going to pander to Golovkin fans either. My point is, I think Charlo did a better job on Derevianchenko. He did, but that doesn't mean Golovkin won't go in there and do a better job than Derevianchenko did with Charlo. I mean, look, Golovkin's still a very dangerous customer, and there's a different sort of pressure that he brings to you. It's a mental game with Golovkin because you're just constantly under pressure with him, and it's how you react. Canelo, the only reason Canelo managed to get the nod is because he's a calm, collective fighter. Canelo, he never got panicked or got flustered. When Golovkin's throwing bombs at you, mate, a lot of fighters fold. They fold under the pressure, and mentally they're never the same afterwards. I mean, like I think Precise said it. I'm not sure that once you fought Golovkin, you're never really the same sort of guy. But with Canelo, obviously, he fought him at the best time of his career. He was young, still learning, and it made him a much better fighter fighting Golovkin. But usually it goes the other way.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. Now, hold on. Before we continue.
Can I add something, BDA, before I go?
Yes, go ahead, Virtuoso.
I just think Charlo has a more his odds are more in his favor if he fights, Golovkin. He stands there to get hit, and he doesn't move his head, and that plays into Charlo's game. Canelo presents a lot more challenges, man. Besides what's happening in the ring, man, it's the politics, man, or in his favor. The machine is behind him, man, and it's gonna have to take a fucking gunshot to the fucking leg to beat Canelo, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, Virtuoso, thank you for calling in, man. Have a good one, man. Let me just get real quick to another phone call here. Let's go to 559. You're on the air. 559. You're on the air.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, 559. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to say that Charlo did what he was supposed to do. He fucking impressed me. He thought he's better than I thought he was. Unless he maybe just improved. I don't fucking know. But he looked good. But also, to put him in the pound for pound, like, get the fuck out of it. The PBC did what PBC does, which is you give your star boxer a fucking smaller boxer, and then that's about it. That's what they've always done with fucking with Spence. That's what they're gonna do with Gervonta. That's what they do. They just give you smaller boxers. They always have the weight advantage to weight bully you or whatever the fuck. You look strong, you look good, but they never go outside of their fucking promotion to lose the belt. Because imagine if Spence fought Crawford, let's say 2 years ago, and he loses that belt. They're fucked. They got no pay-per-views, then they have no belts. They already lost fucking Wilder because that was a fucking cherry pick gone wrong. They're not gonna feed the fucking Charlo to Canelo to lose that belt. There's no way. They're gonna keep fucking going around their fucking promotion giving them. But you know what? There's what I do want to see. If Charlo really wants to fucking fight with Canelo, they should do it right away. Go do the UFC thing and build on the hype right now. He's fucking everybody's all up on his nuts. Get it right now. They're gonna sell a shitload of fucking tickets. And because what's going to happen is if he gets another fighter and he goes back to the way he used to fight, all the hype's going to go away. Or if Derevchenko gets a fight, like a tune-up fight, and he looks like shit, then all of a sudden it wasn't a good win. You know, so they need to get on it right the fuck now.
Guys, that's a good point that he brings up. If Charlo right now, everybody's, well, not everybody, but most people are impressed by the performance, or at least give him credit for having beaten Derevchenko, finally stepping up. If he goes back to fighting a guy like Heinlein or whatever, does he lose all that hype? Should he jump in there against Canelo and just say, look, Canelo, you're the A side, whatever you want, I'll take the fight, catch weight, whatever, let's do it.
That's what we want, but he's going to fight Eubank Jr. So, I don't know
I like that fight. I like it.
Yeah, me too. I like it.
Hold on, no.
Yeah,
Apology. I want to hear from Apology because he hasn't said something much in a while. Go ahead, Apology.
I'll say yes, only because the PBC sucks at promotion. And if you look at past fighters, this is the same pattern. Do you guys remember what happened with Gervonta Davis after that win over Pedraza? People were hyping him up. He was getting a lot of promotions, a lot of media attention. Then he fought 2 bums, and now look where he is.
Yeah, Cal Brook the same. You got to build on momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Spence, after he fights, after he beats Cal Brook, nothing happened for like 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. You got to build on momentum. That's why Charlo has to step up. For me, Golovkin's the next fight for him. I mean, I'm not too fussed with the Eubank because you've got to accept in boxing, these guys are just not going to fight the best every fight. They're going to have these sort of fights. And Eubank is the second best thing for me because there's not a lot of guys he can fight. Obviously, with the DAZN got the most of them. So that's not going to happen. So Eubank's the next best thing. Then I want Golovkin and then Canelo. Because I agree with one of the callers earlier who said he thinks Charlo's probably 18 months, 2 years away from Canelo. I agree with that. I'd be happy to see him fight Golovkin and Eubank in between.
But what does that say about Charlo and the way he was brought up? The man is fucking 30 years old. I mean, he's not ready.
It's
God
true,
damn.
man. Yeah,
you should be fucking ready by now.
Yeah, well, of course he should. But this is the problem with American boxing at the moment. They're just taking far too long to get them going. I mean, look at Josh Taylor. How many fights he's had? I mean, he's a pound for pound fighter. He's not even had 20 fights. Joshua. I mean, like the 16, 17 fights he's fighting Vladimir Klitschko. Lomachenko, he's fighting Gary Russell Jr. in his 3rd fight. I mean, Usyk the same, gone all over the world, not even fought 17 fights. You've got to be stepping these guys up to the level quicker when they're a talent. There's a lot of talent in America, but a lot of it's going stale, fighting bum after bum after bum. You get stuck in the gear, like I said before you know it, you're in a 12-round war with someone you shouldn't be.
Look, let me break it down to you guys this way, though. Hold on a second. Shout out to Virtuoso, who just donated with the super chat. Shout out to Virtuoso. He says PBC needs to strike while the iron is hot. He says hot with Jermall Charlo. No more easy touches. Well, to that point, shout out again to Virtuoso for the contribution. Check this out, man. This is when, what's his name? Jermall fought Julian Williams. This was in 2016. This is when Julian Williams was supposed to be the boogeyman. He was the guy, the dark horse of the division that all the hardcore boxing fans were saying he was going to be the next best thing. So they fight each other, both undefeated. Charlo gets a sensational knockout win. What does he do? He fights Jorge Sebastian Highland, who's 29-4. He fights Hugo Centeno Jr., who's 26-1 and really slow. He fights Matvey Korobov, and remember, he was supposed to fight Monroe, another guy like Trout, who's essentially just a southpaw who can move but with no punching power. And then he almost lost against Korobov. He takes on Brandon Adams, takes on Dennis Hogan. I'm the only guy who gives him credit for the Dennis Hogan fight. And then finally, 4 years later, takes on Derevchenko. So I think the caller has a point. But the caller... What? Go ahead, Precise.
Very good point.
Are we praising him or are we criticizing him? Because when I criticize Charlo, I get jumped on. And it's cool. I ain't mad. But then you go over his record, which has always been in the back of my head. Like, there's a reason why they're not putting this dude in the ring with anybody. There's a reason why they put him in the ring with Derevchenko coming off of devastating fucking loss. There's a reason why they've been cherry picking his fucking opponents, hyping them up, and hoping to cash in because he's not that good. He really isn't that fucking good. He's a basic, huge fucking weight bully, basic as fuck. There's nothing special about this guy. To even mention him as a pound for pound type of fighter shows how fucking lost boxing fans are, how retarded they are, and to like sit there and praise this guy for fucking what?
Well, first of all,
hold on. Let me finish. He didn't do anything impressive. He did what he was supposed to do. When you say a fighter does something he's supposed to do, everybody expected this to happen. Expected this to happen.
Yep.
He delivered. Congratulations. You get your credit. You defended your belt. But let's not go overboard. You fought a guy that's probably on his last fucking leg.
Yeah, to be fair to Precise, he actually picked. Hang on a second, just 1 second. He picked Charlo to beat Derevyanchenko comfortably. So just let these people said he's hating on Charlie. He actually picked Charlo to win the fight because I remember him doing it.
Go ahead, Mr. BDA.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because Precise said we're jumping on him. I don't know if he's referring to me or who he's referring to, but I wasn't jumping on. I'm the only thing I disagree with Precise is I don't think Derevyanchenko was as shot as they say. Now I'm gonna give him credit for the Derevyanchenko fight because let me tell you, I'm telling you, not everybody can beat Derevyanchenko. The guy's a pit bull in there. But I do criticize Jermall Charlo, and I've been criticizing him for the past 5 years that he hasn't really fought anybody. That's why I'm pointing out that after he fought Julian Williams, he's fought, mediocre opposition for a guy that's... And I'm also talking from the point of view of the Charlo fans, the LDBC fans, who have always said that Charlo supposedly is this boogeyman that everyone's scared of, and now with this win, they're the ones going overboard. I'm keeping things...
Is that Charlo's fault? Is that Charlo's fault, or is it Al Heyman's fault? That's the problem.
Well, it's everybody's. I mean, it's his Heyman's fault. It's the fans' fault. His fans' fault for overhyping him. All I'm doing is I'm keeping things down the middle, and I'm giving him credit for the Derevyanchenko win.
Hey, there's still a caller.
Oh yeah, caller, are you still there?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you make of all this malarkey?
Malarkey.
Well, look. First, I want to. I feel bad for Derevyanchenko. The guy he's a very likable dude, but he went for glory and is fighting one division too fucking high. I would love to see if whether it's Canelo or Triple G with Charlo, and then have Derevyanchenko fight Jermall Charlo. That would be a fucking card, and I think Derevyanchenko gets the 3 belts from fucking Jermall. I think he beats that guy. I think the Jermall is too fucking big for him. That's just what I thought.
Yeah.
So you want Derevyanchenko to go down in weight? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's too small. He's always been the smaller fighter in the He doesn't even look like he belongs at 160. He's small.
Wait. Now I'm confused now because
No.
I think
he's pretty.
Is he talking about Derevyanchenko? Yeah. Are you saying?
Talking about
Yeah, Derevyanchenko. I want him to go down and fight at 154 with the brother. I think he can beat him. I honestly think he beats him.
Apparently, that's
Derevyanchenko is a legit middleweight. The optics are all fucked up because you got all these roided up weight bullies fighting too fucking low.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
the other
good-
way
it's a
around.
good-
I
well,
just
it's a-
want to ask a question. I just want
It's
to
the
ask
other
you
guys
to-
that are bigger.
It appears to me that now that Derevyanchenko beat that Charlo beat Derevyanchenko, all of a sudden Charlo has accomplished like 50% of Golovkin's what Golovkin. No, this is what I'm getting at. So okay, so let me ask everybody, what does Charlo have to do in order to accomplish what Golovkin did?
Well, beat Canelo for one.
Contenders against top fighters.
Yeah,
unify the
all the
division for a
contenders.
start.
It's a long list, right?
Yeah, he got unified the
Very long.
division for a start.
Can we also say, can he go to another country and dominate it? Because, I know it's the business end and he doesn't pay my fucking home insurance or nothing, but I'm impressed that a kid from Kazakhstan was one of the reasons it would be the last $1 million pay-per-view.
Let me ask you something.
Let
me ask you something, Jimmy. Who wins if Triple G would have said, "Hey, Canelo, you fighting me in Kazakhstan, brother, or you fighting me in Germany, where I got fans, where there's Eastern Europeans in Germany." It's right. I mean, they're close to each other anyway. But you get what I'm saying. What if he said, "You fight me there"? Who wins that fight?
Well, it depends on who was judging, I guess, right? I mean, if you get anything out of Vegas.
Triple G. Triple G gets the same treatment Canelo Alvarez gets.
Oh yeah, of course. No home.
Triple D
Yeah, the
kills
hometown
him. Triple
crippin'.
D kills him. You kill
He
him.
sold out. He sold out. I mean, if you want to talk about attributes, I mean, it's still part of it. It's all part of it, right? He sold out Madison Square Garden and record. I mean, that thing's been holding fights for 100 years, man. And
No, Jimmy,
he
I
had
get
record
what you're saying.
sellouts.
No,
And I wanted to
100%
say
right.
too the other. Yeah, no, I was talking about when Bucho said what else does he have to do. I'm saying like as far as not just who he fights, but impact on the sport. Now, one thing the other night we were on the phone and somebody, I don't know who it was, I can't remember, was saying they thought because of all the Charlo was heavy into the hip hop culture that was going to transcend into sales. I'm hearing that it did so horribly that they're not going to. It's Wednesday. There's not even hide nor hair, not even a rumor of how many it sold. When I talked to a few people in the know, they heard that the last time they checked, he heard it was 59,000.
59K.
59,000 pay-per-views. He's saying it's not going to hit 100. It's not even going to come close to hitting 100,000.
Well,
the whole hip hop thing fell flat. That didn't translate. This thing was a dog.
And you know why?
Look, people have had enough of that, Jimmy. People have had enough of that.
Yeah,
that
Jimmy, you know why I know you're right? Because the numbers just came out from the presidential debate that was down 50% from the last one.
Oh.
Which was 50%.
Hey, you know what? I'm down with the hip hop. I'm down with the kids. I know what's happening, but I don't know if pandering to the hip hop crowd. I don't know how much that works because I mean even some of his fans were like in other streams. I've heard them say, "Oh, I didn't pay for the fight." So I'm thinking, how you support the Charlos if you're actually there?
It's trend. Historically, the black community hasn't bought pay-per-views. Sorry.
Yeah, but what the hip hop bullshit has not really helped Danny Garcia. I mean, he's a dreadful rapper, isn't he? Broner the same. I mean, look, does anyone say, well, I'm going to watch Adrian Broner's fight because I listened to one of his tracks the other day and he's
It's garbage. I mean, I did, and it's garbage.
Look,
His tracks are garbage.
Straight garbage.
Look, all boxing fans care about is how you get in the ring and perform. We don't care how you look, what gimp suit you come into the ring to. All we care about is how you perform in the ring. And look, Golovkin is doing better numbers than most of these American fighters, and the guy is a fucking Kazakhstani. Why? Because he comes to fight. I mean, let's be real. He's not exactly interesting to listen to. He talk a glass eye to sleep, but get him in a boxing ring. He's fun to watch, and that's what sells.
That's
Yeah,
right.
no,
Yeah,
listen,
English
I
than
just think,
Charlo.
look. Go ahead.
No, I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say he speaks better English than Charlo, and I'm shocked that he's in 100,000 fucking cucks like Vinny bought that pay-per-view. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Hey, wait a minute. He's gonna call Vinny a cock. But
That don't surprise me. He bought that.
you know, man,
This was the greatest pay-per-view card ever.
I had my Pepsis with me.
I had a lot of Pepsi.
come on now,
Well,
fellas.
that's
come on.
Wait, hold on a sec. So he has money to buy pay-per-views, but not enough
But
money
he
to pay
can't fucking pay
recognized.
his debt, right?
Well, that's the label that got Steve Kim labeled as a racist. The one the LDBC hangs on because he said in an interview, he just said facts. He looked at the demographics because they printed them out. HBO used to do that in household by demographic, white household, yada yada, black household, and traditionally, black households didn't buy boxing pay-per-views. They just didn't. Even when Mayweather fought, it was mostly white. And whether it was the people that buying them to see him lose or whatnot, it was a smaller. Yes, they make up 13% of the country, but you would think there would have been more, and that just shows it right there. I mean, the Charlo brothers, it didn't sell at all, not even a little.
Look, mate, we're going through tough times at the moment.
Something. I remember precisely.
Tough times, man. Sorry, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Who's talking?
What do you mean, Jesus? I'm fucking. How do I know when I got a delay and I got shit out? Fucking Jesus, man. I remember that when you want me to carry a show on my own.
I remember this precise said this once. It made sense. If you look at the crowd in a boxing fight in the arena, for the most part, it's a mix or mostly white people.
Yeah, I've always
about
noticed that.
Or Mexicans if it's a Mexican,
Mexican,
in California. But I never really see like a whole crowd of like African Americans.
Well, unless it's
Look.
It's not
But
racist.
to be fair, like white people got more money or whatever. Like to be fair, fine. But this is the thing that I think Al Heyman should get more flack for because he promised free boxing, which was going to bring the whole demographic into it, and it was going to be, you know, a free for all, and they were going to jump in on it, and boxing was going to boom, right? And what happened now, right? Shit was supposed to be free so that, you know, people that don't have the money could participate in it. Well, that didn't happen.
This is how you build boxing. You put it on the free channel so people can get involved. Boxing's for poor. Listen, boxing's a poor man's sport. Let's be real. It's a poor man's sport. People from the street. Most of us guys are fucking working class people, or even from the streets and are brought up hard. How many millionaires are hanging around this fucking chat? Not many, I can tell you that. Look, you can't be charging $70, $80 and around these times for the Charlo brothers. And if you're going to charge that, you have to stack the card. You had to put a good Mexican on that card to get numbers in. You had to get even a good Puerto Rican if you could find one these days. Do you know what I mean? Look, that's what you got to do. No, sorry, recognise, but that's what you got to do. You know, you're not gonna put the Charlos on a card in America, and it's not going to do well. I mean, this is why people say, "Oh, well, Fury Wilder didn't do well." I think it did very well with today's time of pay-per-view, because people are getting really funny about what they buy, because there's so many free streams with good quality. Why pay $80 fucking dollars? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard times, mate, with these pay-per-views. I think the pay-per-view is going to finish in the end, because it's getting to the stage where they're putting on these pay-per-view events and they're barely coming even. You know, they're barely coming even with these pay-per-view events when they've got to pay these guys so much money and they're getting nothing in return.
Hey, Stu, my boy's Berlanga. Watch out for Berlanga.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of KOs. After this fight, their stock rises. Their stock rises a little bit. Before this fight, maybe that's why they didn't sell. But after this one, they're gonna sell a little more.
That depends. That depends too. Well, even Kevin Lowe. See what's happening right now, though. Gonzalo, Yahoo Sports. Kevin Lowe, guy's a fucking total PBC cock. He was sucking Al Heyman's balls right out the chute. Like he really was. He was all pro PBC. He thought he bought into the dream. And again, to Precise's point, that was Al Heyman's selling point. He was going to get the black people that traditionally have been left out of this, you know, the economics of it. And I mean, that was the big selling point. He was, oh my God, he pushed that hard. And that was the most expensive outfit to follow by far. So it was the PBC. Now, anybody just sit there and say it wasn't a disaster. Just call Waddell and Reed and ask those investors from the Ivy Fund if they think it was a disaster. They never got a dime back.
I don't. Yeah, but I'm not going to go with all black people in buying boxing. I just think no one's buying boxing right now.
Yeah.
That's where I am. I don't think it's a black people are not buying it. I just think no one's fucking buying it, because $80 is a lot of fucking money for. Let's be real. Derevchenko, a man that's a specialist in failure. Let's be real. It's a specialist. Rosario, who's been dropped more times than fucking Jenna Jameson's panties. I mean, look.
That's the whole point, dude. The guy didn't deserve to be fighting for a title, let alone on fucking pay-per-view, coming off a devastating fucking loss.
That's what made it.
Yeah, when did that start happening? When did that become a trend?
Point, like, when was the last time you saw a guy lose a fight and then, like, right away gets another title shot? I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but it doesn't usually happen like that.
Well, because a lot of people thought it was controversial against Triple G, and I brought up the same point, but that's what I got an answer for, like what I'm saying now, because a lot of people thought it was controversial.
But look, there's content in that controversial loss. Like, just go look at. I know people don't like to look at people's facial damage, but you should. That's something that you should look at in a sport called boxing, which is punching. The dude suffered, bro. He, like, even if you thought he won, I'm not gonna argue. I thought he lost, but even if you thought he won, dude, he took an ass beating in that fight. He took a big ass beating.
The card was stacked, man, and I heard this in a different podcast. Don't quote me on saying this, but the card had a lot of fights. Maybe if they would have made two separate cards with each Charlo fighting in a different one and make it like a $40 or $50 pay-per-view, they would have sold more.
Yeah, it was also the format. Did you see how you saw how they put it on, right, dude?
Yeah,
they had the Charlo fight. Then they had these two fights. Like I tweeted, if they fought in my backyard, I would have pulled the shade down. I'm like, fuck are these guys doing? Never mind, pay to watch them. And then they put on some random fucking podcast, 40 minutes of some dude's random podcast, talk about fucking combat sports. I'm like, this is insane. And then they fucking went on with the next fight 2.5 hours later. It was absurd. Look, and the fucking charge $75 for that ass fucking is even more
the problem with
absurd.
boxing.
the problem with boxing. There doesn't seem to be much money in making it. You just don't seem to make any money in boxing anymore. These firms like DAZN are fucking on the last legs. I mean, the PBC just blew $500 million on absolutely nothing. I mean, let's be real. Sky Sports will charge us pay-per-view for a British level fight. You know, it's just getting to the stage where, and even they're not really. The UK, the numbers have dropped. Just go and look at Joshua's numbers. I mean, his numbers are still good. They're still good numbers. Don't get me
It's
wrong.
still better than the average. Yeah.
Well, for the sport to survive, it's going to have to do something
Put it this
different.
way: Joshua fights in front of more people at the arena than fucking Charlo's do on pay-per-view. So because Joshua fought in front of 90,000, Charlo's hovering around 50,000 pay-per-views. So look, Joshua's still a big name, but even his numbers are dwindling.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
boxing-
listen, boxing's gonna. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. The last thing, because we gotta go, man.
Okay. Oh, you want me to finish?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, look, I'm not gonna lie. Look, sorry, I'm not gonna lie. When I said let me try crack stream and see if I can fucking get the fight, and I did. I got it, but I said, look, if I have issues, I'll buy the fight. Okay, look, I'm not saying I'm rich or anything like that, but I could afford it. I could afford to get the fight if nothing works out. If this the stream gives out on me, I'll get the fucking fight because I want to see what happens. But a lot of people are not that patient enough, or maybe just don't have the money to be like wasting and saying I'm gonna get this, or maybe they do have the money, just I'm not interested in buying this fight. For that kind of money because of who's fighting. So like pay-per-view it's been struggling, dude, with everything that's going on today. You don't think that struggle is going to continue to go in the wrong direction? Of course it is. So
yeah, but don't you think
sometimes
boxing
you see
fans are getting?
60,000
Don't you think boxing fans are getting wiser to these fucking
That's what I'm
mismatches?
saying.
And
yeah, that's what I'm saying, Stu. Like, look,
Oh,
we
more
love
broke.
boxing. We come on here, but the real world doesn't work that way. The real world, people look at boxing as a fixed sport. I've had plenty of people. They're not haters. They're just fans of combat fighting. They like UFC, MMA, all that shit, right? When I talk to them about boxing, they're like, the only thing I don't like about that sport, and you wait for the answer, and it's like, it's a fixed sport. I think it's fixed. That's the perception of casual fans. So, they're not that interested in these kind
look, Pacquiao Mayweather hurt boxing terribly that night because I remember because on my Facebook I've said this before that the amount of chicks on my Facebook that were getting together having drinks amongst the girls, and they've ordered the fight. I mean, all the amount of girls that ordered this fight, so they got the hype, everyone was up for it, got into boxing for the night, and they stunk the joint out. And then the next day I get in the morning, these girls are saying Floyd Mayweather's a pussy, never watching boxing again. And this is what it hurt boxing really bad. And then we started to bounce back, and then it went stale again. Obviously the COVID thing's not helped, but when boxing had momentum, the promoters got greedy. They started getting into a little petty arguments, and now we are where we are, where fucking these Gamboa's being dug out of his grave, and all these other Gabriel Rosado's being dug out of his grave. I mean, come on, man.
Mucho, I'm gonna make one last statement if the show is finishing. Look, the funny thing here is, if I have the Charlo knocking on the door of the pound for pound list, but guess what? It's not this one. It's Jermall, the guy that knocked out Lubin, knocked out Tony Harrison, and knocked out Jason Rosario. That's the guy.
Yeah, that's not enough for pound status for me.
Well, what's the difference between that and Spence? I don't know. But anyway,
Spencer's not on
I ain't got Spencer's not on mine either.
Yeah, mine nowhere near.
Spencer's got the talent to be on there.
We don't
but
have Spence.
He's on mine.
All right.
Listen, fellas.
well, anyhow, he got 3 belts. But okay, peace.
Marty Rosen beat that Charlo. Okay, that's all I'm gonna.
I just want to say one more thing, man. I'm really curious to see how much Davis Santa Cruz sells, because I think that's gonna
be like 30 maybe.
Curious.
30K.
15.
Mexicans don't even care about Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, he doesn't have a huge.
Nah.
I noticed that he doesn't have a huge fan base.
All right,
Because
listen.
he's more of a boxer than like a Mexican style fighter.
Well, nowadays,
Well,
now
he
that
throws a
he's
lot of punches.
now that he's up in the higher weights, he's turned more boxer than pressure fighter. But listen, fellas, thank you for joining
Hey,
us.
do you know? I know one more thing. Do you know what I think could save boxing? A sports channel like Netflix, a sort of sports version of Netflix, where they just show all the best sports and stuff, and then people will probably tune in, and that could probably help boxing. But this pay per
So we
view,
could get 11-year-old ring card girls? No thanks.
Boxing
Jeez.
is not for everybody.
Trannies.
It's not for everybody, and I'm happily just having it like this, like it is. Because if it were for everybody, it would get more fucked up. People would have all kinds of opinions.
Glad to hear you say that, Precise, by the way, brother. Good for you, man. That shit was fucking disgusting.
I don't know what's he talking about. I don't know what he's talking about.
It was just a
Steve,
joke.
we
I
got
get what
to
you're
do
saying,
Renaissance,
Stu.
Bucho. Second Renaissance. We got
It's the cuties thing.
Yeah, he's talking about
You haven't heard of it,
I don't
Stu?
know. I don't really follow stuff.
Yeah, I heard of it, Stu.
Precise. 628 girls, mostly from the fucking barrios showed up in
on the casting
practice.
couch?
It kept for the casting. Showed up for casting.
Jimmy.
628 girls ground the floor. Oof.
All those people should be lined up against the wall and shot.
And shot in the fucking face.
Jimmy,
yep.
Precise. I think you guys are being cultural insensitive. Because
I think someone tell me what the fuck's going on here.
Hold on.
I want to know what's going on so I can get involved. What's going on?
Cuties, it was
Cuties.
Oh yeah, it's ending the show. Cuties, just look that up. Seriously, bro, just go look up cuties. You'll see the controversy went along with it. Just see that. That's all you got to check out.
I didn't know nothing
sorry
about
for mentioning it, brother. I know you want to go. I'm sorry. You guys all have a great night. All right, be safe.
We don't want the
I
YouTube
just wanted to say one more thing real quick.
We don't want the YouTube police. What?
Okay, never mind.
No.
I was gonna make a joke.
No.
Man, fuck YT. Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't know what's going on here, but the chat room also froze. I think once the Netflix thing got brought up, chat room froze. So we're going to end it with that. Guys, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Stu, Recognize, Precise, Jimmy, Apology. Gonzalo was here as well. Mark as well was here for a while. So thank you for joining us, guys. We're going to have to go. But listen, everybody's got an opinion on Charlo. Every time a guy wins, he either becomes overrated or underrated. We're going to have to keep an eye on him. Like Bucho said, unfortunately, he's probably going to be taking on Eubank, which is not the worst fight in the world, but, Eubank can be on.
Eubank's going to knock him out.
Mate, you never know. It's
I thought tonight's show's been. I think tonight's show's been a really good show. I mean, hell, we've got 12 dislikes. I mean, I'll never know. I mean, what do you guys want from a boxing show? I thought you got everything today.
I want us to say Charlo did a better job with Derevchenko than Golovkin.
That's probably what it is.
Exactly those words.
Well, they're not going to get that.
So that means he automatically beats Triple G.
Honestly,
right. The triangle
if Charlo goes to the UK and then puts on a press performance, I think he should go in that direction because he will win some UK fans over, and that can't do anything.
Apology. You're asking these spoiled, everything handed to them athletes to do something, to work for something. They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Eubank Jr. at the Barclays Center. At the Barclays Center. That's what's going to be happening.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but it's a good career move. If I was Charlie, I would do it. But
I'll be rooting for Eubank if that fight happens.
Well, there you go. Now listen, I'm going to try to squeeze in a second Renaissance before the end of the week. There's a lot going on in the world right now. We got to get down to it.
Yeah, we got to do it, man. We got to do it.
We're going to do it. Don't worry about it. We're going to do
it. We got to save the world. You know what I'm saying?
one person at a time. Why not, man? It is possible. I do believe. So listen, again, shout out to all
those who want to be saved. We're here to help you. Those who don't, well, too bad.
Yeah, we can't save everybody, man. Can't save everybody. It's a quality game, not a quantity game. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Again, everybody in the panel, everybody in the chat. I can't go back to the chat here because it froze for some reason. But shout out to Elias, SSB28, Leo Parker, Brian Harkin, Alexander Detaev, SAS, Andres Hernandez, That Guy, Blues Boxing, Steven Schneider, Saint Brit, The Quacks. You guys know who you are. Dead Game in there as well. Everybody who called in. Guys, thank you for joining us. We'll catch you in the next one.
BDA.
Yes.
Real quick. When we go, I gotta bring something up to you. When we go, if just for like 2 minutes.
All right.
Once we get off air,
Fantastic. Fantastic. Hopefully it's something juicy. All right.
Yeah,
guys,
it's a little something that I found out.
All right, guys. Thank you for
A little
joining us.
something that I found out. That's all.
All right. Take it easy, fellas. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed the show. Take it easy.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man. I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lomito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.